Have you seen the sun shining in the night? Do you think the moon should come up in the day? Take a look at you. You're beautifully made. You're the only one as beautiful as you. So look all around you. Everything you see, bright and beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Take your time to appreciate everything you see, 'cause life is beautiful. All things bright and beautiful, all creation great and small. All things bright and wonderful, they're all perfect in their time. All things bright and beautiful, all creation great and small. All things bright and wonderful, they're all perfect in their time. Do you see the birds flying in the sky? Do you wonder how they feed and how they fly? All the land and sea, the color of the trees, it's the beauty of nature in its place. So look all around you, everything you see, so bright and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Take your time to appreciate everything you see, 'cause life is beautiful. All things bright and beautiful, all creation great and small. All things bright and wonderful, they're all perfect in their time. All things bright and beautiful, all creation great and small. All things bright and wonderful, they're all perfect in their time. Look at you, you're beautifully made. You're the only one as beautiful as you.
Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for making up time to be here. It's the Civilized Presence. Let me know if you can see me and you can hear me. I can see tons of people who are coming online. Welcome. The watch party is on. Please do us a favor to share this video on your page. Invite others to be part of what we're doing. It's the Civilized Presence. But most importantly, it's the International Youth Day, August the 12th. And that's why we're here today. And we are all so excited. We have tons of leaders from different parts of the world, and we are just ready to rock and roll. So come on in and comment in the box below. Let me know where you're joining us from. Let me know what country, what city, and your name and who you are. We would love to meet you. And I can get comments here. Coach Heidi says loud and clear. Thank you so much. Thank you. So coming to the main video, if you want us to have your comment on the screen, because I have different screens that are up right now. So if you're not in the main video, I cannot really have your comment right on the screen. But we're ready to go. I'm so excited. So I don't know about you, but I have all these wonderful people from different parts of the world. We have Canada here, we have the United States, we have Nigeria, Morocco, Asia. Oh, it is wonderful. We have Europe, South Africa. Everyone is in the house. So come in and let us know where you're joining us from. Let me know your name and let's know what you do. Are you a young person? Now, do us a favor and have this video on your platform and invite all the young people that are around you to come in and get some great content and value. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanessa from South Africa. It's good to have you. Nishat from Bangladesh. It's good to have you. Thank you. So my family from Bangladesh are in the house. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sandra, it's good to have you. Esther, it's good to have you. Wenger, it's good to have you. Lola, it's good to have you. Thank you so much for making out time. Now, if I haven't mentioned your name, that's because you're not directly on my personal page, but I'm going to get around that. So you might want to come in and just give us some thumbs up, give us some hearts, say hello to your favorite people who are on the screen. And please, can every one of us on the screen right now try to share this video on your page? And so we can get others to be part of this. I don't know if StreamYard has it on your page, but I'm going to try my best during the course of what we're doing just to get it on your page. But please do that. If you can help us with that, that would be very much appreciated. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I'm seeing the hats and thumbs up. We're good to go. Now, some of you have never met me before. My name is Dr. Louisa Akaizo, and I am a Master Civility Trainer, a woman development advocate, an author for several books, a leadership expert with the John Maxwell team. Now, you might be wondering, who is she and what does she do? I work confidently with leaders and professionals that place great importance in themselves and their reputation. We have feedback right now. Welcome, Dr. Emma. It's great to have you in the house. Can we all go on so that we're getting some feedback here?
Yeah.
Great. So I feel extremely honored to share with you that I am the recipient of the World Civility Day I Change Nation African Women of the Year 2020 Award. And I am also the founder of the initiative Civility for the Girl Child's Day. And this is being celebrated October the 13th of every year. Now, why are we here today? It's the International Youth Day. I'm not going to take so much of your time because we have tons of content, we have tons of experts from different parts of the world. I'm going to try and make sure that I'm going to be extremely simple with everyone's time, honor people's time. Some people have a hard stop at a certain time, but I want to first of all appreciate all of my panelists who are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you again and again, because without you, really this show will not go on. Without you, we will not put this together. So thank you so much. Thank you. So guys, some of you might have seen the post for today, maybe you haven't, but I'm just going to go on it a little bit. This is the pandemic period. Everything has been so troubled. The period that we've been a lot of pain, a lot of losses, a lot of uncertainties. But there's still some things about the pandemic. We have some. Can we have our microphones on mute, please? Yes. Thank you so much. So there's some great things about the pandemic. The pandemic has also presented the world with a flat playing field. And I think that one of the benefits of this present crisis is how easy your innovations of whether it's for young people, how easy your message can be passed around the world. So you can scream in Nigeria and someone can respond in Malaysia. And I'm right here in Virginia screaming, and I can hear people are saying hello from Nigeria or from Dubai, from Morocco. We have people joining in from everywhere. Dr. Raymond, I have two screens for you. Is that okay? You're showing up on two screens. Okay, I think one was frozen, so we're going to bring in the first speaker. Okay, perfect. So the conversation today really is, where are the youth right now? You know, the whole world is so excited and so intrigued and so interested in trying to give the youth a chance, you know, but are they actually ready? That's the point here. How can we help them? How can we collaborate or model the way for these young people to follow? You know, we have a lot of, you know, great minds all over the world. The pandemic has been extremely helpful. I have been able to connect with tons of people that I probably would never have dreamt of meeting. But this period has been amazing. So I know that we're so sad and upset about the pandemic. And welcome, Sister Kiki. It's great to have you in the house. But we can use it for something greater than ourselves. So, what's the focus of this conversation today is really to provide contents that would empower the young people who are aspiring to become leaders, help them show the way, model what that blueprint is going to look like that would enable them to create the right value, which of course will activate social change wherever that they find themselves. So this is like the beginning of a great journey. So if you're here, you want to stick around and work with us because this is the beginning. We had to have the session here today, and this will continue on to a summit that is coming up at the end of the month. I will announce that and share the link where you can register to be on the summit. And this will continue to an academy for the young people because, you know, the last couple of months, I have been opportune to work with a lot of young people in Asia, Dubai, you know, Europe. I've been on different platforms. And the questions that I keep getting is, Louisa, how can we, how can we lead? We want to work, but there is really no one showing us how to. So, that shows me that there is a need. And we are all about providing a solution for a need. As experts, we need to find out where the gap is at. If the United Nations and international organizations have created this wonderful day today, August the 12th, with a great team of youth engagement for global action, are the youth ready to take on the stage? We are ready to pass on the baton. But do we have the right youth that are ready to take on the stage? Do we have the right youth that will lead us the right way? Or do we have the young people who are just going to take us back into the rabbit hole? I don't want to get back into the rabbit hole. We've been having some extremely crazy leadership all over the world. I don't want to even talk about that. So we are trusting that the young people will lead us the right way. But then we have to work with them. And this is why I brought this amazing experts from all over the world. We're going to have about 13 people speak today for 10 to 15 minutes, and we're just about to get things started with Dr. Raymond Halal. Right, Dr. Raymond, are you in Canada right now? Are you in the US? I know you're around.
I'm in New York City.
Okay, but he's originally from Canada, and he's work. And so it's such an honor to have you here, Dr. Raymond. And we are beginning having is this from your connection so that we can keep going. Okay. Can we also say so that I can bring Dr. Raymond on the screen? Let's see how the system works. Okay. So let's see. Just give us a moment. I'm going to try to just have Dr. Raymond screen along. And just while we're trying to do that, let's have our hello. So we're here and Dr. Raymond is ready to go. So let's see what happens with Dr. Raymond. I'm trying to get myself out so that we can continue.
Hi, Dr. Louisa. I want to thank you for hosting this amazing show today. Phenomenal platform for International Youth Day. And it's an honor to be invited on your show to speak to our audience from across the globe today. And it's so great. I'm so thankful for technology because we can be all across the globe and yet connect, put our minds together, and come up with solutions to empower others, especially young people. My global initiative is called I Empower Entrepreneurs. I've developed that working with my mentor, Sir Clyde Rivers, who is the world. He's the father of world civility. He's been doing world civility across the globe for over 15 years now. Before meeting Sir Clyde Rivers, I was and still is a very successful entrepreneur. I own multiple business in retail. I offer service products. I'm invested in real estate, and up to recently, I'm invested in spearheading a massive project in my home country of Guyana to plant 1 million coconut trees. And why am I doing this? It's profitable. It's a win for me. It's a win for all of the investors. It's a win for the local farmers. It's a win for the country. And it's a win for society and the globe at large. Why? It's a green initiative. It's actually, I have done studies and I put together a report where this one initiative, planting 1 million coconut trees in Guyana, actually hits all of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is, if you're not familiar with the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, you can just Google that, and it's actually the standard that all of the country, 194 countries signed up to achieve by year 2030. It has started 5 years ago in 2015, and it was a 15-year plan to achieve these goals. And the first one is to end poverty, and second is no more hunger, and number 13 is where I'm very focused on United Nations Sustainable Goal number 13, which is climate action. But in order to achieve that goal, it has to be, I'm bringing together multi-level stakeholders and at the United Nations level with the SDGs, the governmental level, the ministerial level, working with the Ministry of Agriculture, working with private sector, members of the civil society, working with community leaders, working with farmers, working with the students, working with the university, because that's the only way for us to achieve any of these goals and for us to win in a quite difficult economic climate and political one, as many countries are having their election this year around the globe. And so it's very unstable all around the globe. Now, in order for us to stay strong and stay focused, we have to collaborate. And that's what I've been doing. I have two brands, the power of collaboration, and I empower entrepreneurs globally. And how do I do that? Is by going into communities, going into villages and looking around and seeing what does the local community have that's an asset that they can package, position, and promote in order to generate revenue and fit one or more of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. And when I was in Guyana, my home country, I look around and see coconut trees everywhere. In America, in Canada, there's no coconut trees. Yes, there's trees. Yes, many countries are planting trees. But why did I choose coconut trees? Because the fruit is a liter of coconut water or a liter of coconut oil is worth more than a liter of gasoline. And gasoline is very non-renewable. It's actually causing the problem of pollution in fossil fuel burning cars. And now we have an alternative, which is provide water, provide a means of income for the local farmers, and it's actually contribute towards removal of carbon from the air. 1 million coconut tree is the equivalent of 10,000 cars driving on the road for an entire year. Think about that. It's just massive how much benefit we can have, and that's how I go about empowering young people around the globe. And in Africa, I'm in Africa. I'm in Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, India, in South Asia. And what do I do in these countries is find other things. In India, I'm doing fabric, clothes, design of clothes, and Indian wear, and empowering the locals there, and then importing it to North America to market and sell that product. In Uganda, I have a program where I'm supplying sewing machines to a training institution, so young women, young girls, it's open to boys also, can come and learn how to sew. And once they know how to sew, they can now take one of this machine home, not as a gift, not as a grant, but as a 0% interest loan. So you take the machine home, and you have to work the machine. Ideally, you have to now train your mom, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, because in these villages, they have extended family. Most of them don't have electricity. So having a manual machine, it's about 150 to 200 US dollars, and just giving them a sewing machine that's a metal thing, and with manual labor, they now know a trade. They can now support themselves, their family, and be able to send their own children to school rather than me sponsoring one child and sending that child to school. I'm able to empower that community, that village, that person, that family, to be able to be self-sustainable. And that's what I've been doing. I'd love to collaborate with any of you who want to continue this vision and collaborate. And if you see there's synergy between what I'm doing and what you're doing, let's make it bigger.
Yes, thank you so much, Raymond. That was helpful. That was wonderful. So what do you, I have a question for you, Dr. Raymond, just before you go. What do you think of the youth for global action? What do you think as a pressing need right now that needs to be done for this to be successful? Over to you, Dr. Raymond.
Dr. Louise, I'm not, can you repeat? I didn't get all of it.
So I said, what do you think about the youth engagement for global action? Because that's the theme of today. What do you see that is lacking in the young people of today? What do you think that would help them, in order to enable them to be successful?
What can we do to move for global action?
Exactly. You hear me?
It's kind of, the signal's kind of breaking up. It's
signal. I said, I'm going to take this back in. So today's theme is youth engagement in global action. And the young people are really not ready at this point. But we're ready to go. So what do you see as a challenge? And how can we help as leaders move them forward? What can we do with them?
Yes, collaborate. Got it now. It's all about collaboration, because I'm only good at one thing. You're good at something else, and we're all good at something else. We all have a gift, and a God-given gift and talent that we have. And in order for us to win, these things are massive. There's so many moving parts to them, and not one person can just move it all. Like in a company has a CEO, it has a vice president, it has an accountant, it has a secretary, it has so many things. And although it might be one guy's idea to start that company, and I look at everything that way. A president of a country is one guy. He might have all the big ideas, but then there's ministries that tackle different portion of the deliverable, of the things that needs to go forward. And so similarly with any engagement where we're looking to actually make the world a better place, we can't quite do it ourselves. We have to collaborate, and which is why I'm so thankful for you to putting on this show and inviting all of us to come on here collaboratively to tackle global action for youth empowerment.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Raymond. That was so wonderful, talking about the power of collaboration. Okay, I have some comments here. Okay, yes, the feedback. They were talking about the feedback, but I think it should be a lot better right now. Thank you so much. And so, guys, if you're just joining us, it's the Civilized Presence, but it's the International Youth Day. And we just had Dr. Raymond Halal talking to us about the need and the power of collaboration. I think that one thing that we must be ready to do as leaders to move the young people forward is the openness to collaborate. You know, this is not about competing. Collaboration is what we need at this point, because this young people, and Dr. Raymond, I loved when you began your conversation with how you're working with Dr. Rivers and other leaders, because someone always has to model the way. It's so important for us to have mentors and leaders that we believe who have been to where we've never been. You need to work with someone who can see further than you. So I'm going to encourage the young people who are watching right now to try to embrace this. You need to be able to work with someone. I mean, try to have a look at who is doing what you would like to do. And that's the only way that you can get involved and succeed on the global field. Thank you so much, Dr. Raymond. It's so good to have you here.
Mentorship is so important. Dr. Rivers has been doing this for 15, 20 years. All I do is get on a phone call with him for 1 hour. At an hour, he gives me his nuggets from all of his experience in traveling to 80 nations when I've only been to about 20 nations. So he's way ahead of me in experience and skills, and collaboration is so key.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. So we're going to have Chika's, thank you, Dr. Raymond. And I'm just going to bring on Chika's Kumli right on the screen right now. And Dr. Raymond will go back to the green room. And as soon as we have a question, Dr. Raymond, I will get you to come in and respond to this question. People are complaining about echoing. Can you hear me? Is it okay now, everyone? Okay, Muna, can you hear me now? No? Okay. I'm not sure why. Is it a lot better now? Can we hear me? If you can hear me, just give us some thumbs up, give us some hearts. Welcome, Maribel. It's good to have you in the house. It's better. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really apologize for that. I guess it's because we have different people from different parts of the world. And so internet and, the media, I don't know what's going on. It's okay now. Perfect. We're good to go. All right, so let me talk about this beautiful lady, Chika's Kumle, who is on the screen. And Chika's Kumle is from Plateau State. She's a politician. When I saw that she was a politician, I'm like, I hope she's not the kind of politician that we know. She's an advocate for social justice, an entrepreneur, Beijing Eaglet at UN Women. She was the Social Democratic Party candidate for Pangshin South constituency at the 2019 general elections in Nigeria, recognized and a recipient of local, national, and international awards, and named among the top 20 Global Women of Excellence 2020 in Chicago, USA. Perfect. So we have Chika's Kumle, who's going to be speaking to us about representation matters. So what we tried to do was to bring in the leaders and, of course, bring in our young people who are doing it amazing and are succeeding, just to come and share with us, how has this worked? How has the journey been? How easy is it for people to achieve or get to where you are? So over to you, Chika, you have the stage for another 15 minutes. Go for it.
Okay, thank you so much. Good day, everyone, and happy International Youth Day. I'm super excited to be on the panel today. My sincere appreciation to Dr. Louisa Ekaizo for having me here and to be speaking alongside the powerful lineup of speakers we have is an honor. I'll be sharing my thoughts on why representation matters. And being a politician from Nigeria, I would like to give a little bit of background from where I'm coming from, because you asked the question, how did we get to where we are now? And I was born and spent most of my growing years in a community with limited access to basic amenities. And having to visit the towns and cities from a young age convinced me that deliberate actions of man can make life better for the majority. And to have that become a reality, what makes the difference from where I was and other places, the difference was leadership. And so if there exists a gap in the leadership, then someone must take responsibility and rise to the occasion to fill in that gap. When I emerged a candidate for my political party to represent my constituency in the state parliament, I was the youngest person and I was the first woman from my constituency to ever be on the ballot. I was hit mostly by the perception of the people, which was foiled by cultural and traditional beliefs that has left women and has limited women and girls now for decades to just being in the kitchen and not the boardrooms. So before I even emerged, I was elected and I was privileged to serve as a youth leader, which availed me the opportunity to understand the issues better. And so I always tell people who ask me how to join politics and how to start to always have a first move before you launch yourself, to always have a place where you serve, whether voluntarily or in a place where you've taken responsibility of how to handle societal issues. And so I share many of the frustration young persons have, and having also experienced and served in the struggle to empower young people, I am dedicated now to inspiring young people in Nigeria, Africa, and around the globe to be an unignored voice in politics and actively take part in creating the future they want. I believe the misrepresentation of young people in decision-making processes and not having them on the table where the future is decided by laws and policies formulated is a factor that needs to be changed globally. Of the 70% youth population globally, the average age of parliamentarians is 53 years, which is far above the United Nations age bracket of defining who a youth is, that is 13 to 29 years, while in most developing countries it is 18 to 35 years. The United Nations, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and other multinational corporations are pressuring member nations to take into account in their policies, programs, and strategies the inclusion of young people, because they have recognized the role and importance of young people towards the sustainable development of these countries. That is why I always say that there's a need for political education for young people. I know it is difficult to have a 16 or 20-year-old interested in new tax reform plans or some of the major decisions taken by government, but I know that political education will help them to understand that politics is not just about campaigns, voting, and having someone in office, but it is about what happens in our neighborhood, our country, and in the world. It is also about what affects citizens, what citizens are allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do. It is about the rules, it's about the laws also. And all those laws are legally binding on all citizens. So when political education is done early, I believe it will prepare them to take on leadership roles. And if young people are taught the right skills, that's the right leadership skills now, and if their consciousness is awoken to see the ballot as a form of expression, just the way we now use the social media, and just as how young people have owned the social media and use it to communicate their frustrations and share their opinions about issues that they care about. If we help them now to see the ballot as a form of expression, they'll become more interested in what happens in politics. Because most times when the question of politics, of governance or leadership is mentioned or asked, a lot of people don't believe that young people are really ready. In your opening statement, you said, are young people really ready? And I'll go back to answer that now. Yes, we are. Most of the things and some of the vices perpetrated by young people now, it is a reflection of the pressure and then the years of unfulfilled promise that has rendered a lot of them hopeless. And so if we get them to be educated and train them on all the leadership skills, and then we bring in those people that have long had the passion of service, because leadership itself is service, then we will have the right kind of leadership we want. And because the challenges that young people face across the globe, issues of underemployment, issues of unemployment, and all other vices that drives them to engage in issues like drug abuse or violence. If those things are critically looked at, it's going to be in the best interest to have the young people handle and be on that table now. What I'm trying to say, in essence, is if we have young people making the laws, if we have them adjusting policies and making those laws and having them in charge, they are in a better position to understand what they are going through, what their fellow youths are going through. And so I believe that if, as young people also, if the society believes and appreciates our innovative and creative skills, then it also means that our voices do matter. And so in issues of lawmaking, young people should be on the table. And when we're talking of young people here, this includes women, young women also, because from where I'm coming from, part of the challenge we had was there had never been a time that young people, young women particularly, were running for office. So for most people, they were asking the question of, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You're supposed to be in your husband's house, taking care of children and not talking about politics. But if we get them educated, like I mentioned earlier on, it will get the people to understand that governance is all about serving the people, and then the people should be allowed to come up and propose solutions and to serve them. So irrespective of gender, irrespective of their age, they should be encouraged to support their communities. And coming from a humble background, I'll tell you that if people are really made to understand why they should have the right people in politics, most of the violence and other vices that comes up with politics will not be there, because it will be strictly for people that are interested in serving the people. So there's an African saying that says, you cannot shave a man's hair in his absence. That's to say, you cannot take decision or that constitutes that affects the majority of the population in their own absence. And also it is said that a person who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. So young people are in the best and better position to ensure that issues that are affecting them are properly addressed. And again, we say that democracy is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. The question will now be, why then are young people not adequately represented? And so to have the representation we require, I believe that young people must drive the process themselves. And it is important to empower them, because issues about politics is very expensive. And so it is not to say we should encourage the monetization of the politics, but to say you should have some strong financial base before you run into politics. And having the experience of running I believe that most young people will not find it easy to run for office because of that financial constraints. So when we get to empower them, when we advocate for their empowerment and get them empowered, they will now have the financial strength to compete, run for office, and win the elections. And so the suggestions that people have that young people lack the capacity, the character, or the competence to lead is false. And we need to challenge it daily by moving beyond just writing or speaking about it to fully getting on the field and leading right. And as young people, we must set good examples. And to successfully do this, I always advise young people do the groundwork, plan ahead, invest your time with the people, get to understand what the people really want, so that when you're discussing these issues with them, it's not going to be that you're trying to run just for the benefits of being in office. And this also brings us to why most people, when you talk about politics, they don't really get to pay attention to it, because they have over the years seen that people made promises to them, and then those promises never get fulfilled. And people went into those offices just to empower themselves and their families. But when we really have young people understand what it really means to be a leader, what it really means to serve, then we will have a generation coming behind us who will pay more attention to government and issues of governance. So in conclusion, I would say, like in Africa, the youth dividend is quite significant, while the attention that is given to them is considerably limited. So if the young population is utilized properly, it will be a potential resource to uplift the countries to what everybody wants. So youth inclusion in political aspects of every country is very critical. And also it will serve as a machinery to reinvent governance structure, thereby creating, enabling, equitable, and an environment where everybody will flourish. And so for my recommendations, since today is the International Youth Day, and we're talking about the engagement, youth engagement for global action. So from global to national and to local levels, youth-related issues should be the priority areas. And then implementations of those developmental agendas that economically empowers them should be a priority in every government. And so because they have a critical mass, their demography is one that cannot be ignored. And if we continue to ignore the young people, we're doing that at our own detriment. We've seen this played out in most developing countries, where out of frustration, young people could not resist taking up to the streets, destroying properties, and at the end of the day, the society is destroyed. People get back to ground zero. And instead of having us go through that, the best thing is to fix the leadership. That is why my continuous call and advocacy for having young people in power will not stop. It is an act of social justice that the majority should have a say in how they should be governed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so powerful. And of course, I'm going to get to a question for you. And welcome, Opayemi. It's good to have you in the house. Welcome, Vanessa, Dr. Tiki, Yan. It's good to have you from South Africa. Dr. Ira, it's good to have you. Santa, watching from Kenya. It's good to have you. Olufunbi. Blessing, it's good to have you in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. If I haven't mentioned your name, it's because you're not directly on my page, but I really do appreciate your making out time to be here. And thank you so much, Chicas, Congresswoman Chicas, for sharing that. Now, I have a question for you. So you have achieved a lot looking at your bio. What was the secret to what had really helped you? What is that thing that you would love to see more that got you to where you are? From the point that you said, yes, I want to be able to step out to do something that's valuable and add impact or value to other people. What did you? What was the thing that really was it a mentor? Was it some kind of training? What was the best thing that happened to you in your journey? Over to you.
Okay, let me just put this straight. I ran through the election, and being the first woman that had gone through it in my constituency to even emerge as a candidate was one of the things that got the people attracted. Like, what's she doing here? Can we really hear what she has to say? So, going through my journey, I would say the thing that has helped me the most is the vision I had. It wasn't about trying to come up to the space to say I've arrived. No, the vision was about serving the people. And so even after I lost the election, I didn't feel bad because I wasn't after the position. I was after serving the people. So winning the election or not winning the election to me was a call to do more, like to ensure that when next I'm running or when I see that we have a right candidate that fits for that position, we should mobilize people and ensure that what he has promised he's going to do for the people is done. So personally, I also do a lot of self-study, and I also have mentors, people that are guiding me, people that are always advising me when they see me do the wrong thing, because you can't know it all. So when they see me take on the wrong steps, they do advise me. So I do a lot of engagements with people that have gone through that that path and have done well. So that's it for now.
Thank you so much, guys. If you're just joining us for the first time, it's the Civil Rights Presence, and where are we here? It's the International Youth Day. We have leaders from all over the world who are here to share with their experience and what they think is so valuable for the young people at this time. We're so excited to give them the stage, and we just heard from Congresswoman Chikas Kumle of her journey, a little bit of her journey, and I love that she said that the young people are ready. But she also did say that the young people have got to represent themselves positively. So I think there's still work to do on both ends. So right now we're going to bring our next speaker, our next panelist with Muna Onuzo to the screen. Thank you so much. So Congresswoman Chikas, just give us a moment. And as soon as we have a question for you, we will bring you back. And welcome, Muna. Let me tell you a bit about who Muna is, apart from that she's my sister. But Muna Onuzo is an award-winning author, a business coach, and life mentor. She is the founder of Gazelle Academy, a technical and soft skill vocational center where she has trained over 2,000 Nigerian youth. She is known as a startup doctor for her work in helping small businesses operate more optimally. Muna is also fondly called the accountability queen and has recently launched the Frantic to Freedom community, where she helps truth seekers, leaders, and their teams become more productive and accountable to the daily process of achieving success in work and life. Muna has spoken on diverse international platforms, such as the United Nations side event in New York, ASCU Conference Cambridge, the CEO Summit in Imperial College London, and the Women Economic Forum India. Muna sits on several boards where she contributes in driving the economic growth of her country, Nigeria, through entrepreneurship. As the convener of the F2F community, she has championed and coached many individuals in pursuit of success, and she is currently the senior technical advisor to the Honorable Minister of State for Education. And welcome, Muna. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Louisa.
Thank you for making time. So we're just going to slide in quickly into your session. Of course, that's on accountability and discipline, because I know that that's extremely important, and that's something that the young people struggle with. Over to you, Muna.
Thank you very much, Louisa. Thank you for setting up this forum where we all gather together to share knowledge on best practices and how the youth can become the better version of our society as the leaders of our society. Tomorrow's, if I'm not tomorrow's leaders, they are currently today's leaders. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored. Thank you very much. And to my co-panelists, fantastic sessions, fantastic presentations. Madam Chicas, wow, sterling presentation. Thank you very much. And I picked some things from what you've said because it kind of like bothers what I'm also going to speak about, which is personal accountability in leadership, but this time in personal leadership, because you have to be able to manage yourself, own yourself, understand yourself, and discipline yourself before you expect to be able to do that for others. Earlier today, I was also on the Goomba Leadership Foundation where I spoke about personal accountability. That is my mantra, that it's my passion to see a lot of young people become personally accountable, to see a lot of young people take up the mantle of leadership, and then lead by example, to change the narrative of young people in office and to change the narrative that young people are not ready for leadership. It only takes a tweak, a mental and a mindset shift for us to be able to get to where we are going. And that takes me to what I want to talk about, which is understanding what accountability is. My word for accountability is responsibility. Are we a responsible society? Are we a responsible people in our families? Are we responsible? I like to drill down on accountability and in terms of personal leadership down to the home, because that is where society starts from. We are all from our individual homes and communities and nuclear families. And that is where we set the tone and set the pace for accountability. Now, for me, understanding accountability has to do with three forms, and that is responsibility to your action, responsibility to your followers, and responsibility to your team results. These three things are all part of what we need to be accountable for. Let's take it, for instance, if we're coming from the family, the father is responsible for how his children turn out, because it's what you put into them that they will give you out. Garbage in, garbage out. Excellence in, excellence out. Now, we also are accountable about their association, right? The people they associate with. From an early age, you can see when a child can turn out well and when a child is derailing. What are you doing to be able to herd the child back in and give them the particular tutelage that they require to become the sort of leader that we want to see today? It's enough to say, oh, we want accountable leaders, we want responsible leaders. However, what are you doing within your own nuclear setting to ensure that we have leaders that we can be proud of tomorrow? So being accountable is being responsible for your actions as a leader of yourself and a group, and not blame any shortcoming on people or the situations around you. It also means that even when you fail to do the right things or you lead your team, that you are man enough to own up to the problem, to own up to the fault that you are at fault in that situation. You don't have to blame anybody or your environment, but you take responsibility for your failure and you work on averting future failures going forward. That is what accountability to yourself means: to be responsible for your actions, to be responsible for the outcome of your actions and the fallout for the people around you. Now, as we are, even the smallest child has followers, people that look up to them, people that work with them. So what is your responsibility towards your followers? Because they are looking up to you. Look at all our superstars. Most of our youth emulate them. Look at the Malian culture now. It has become a culture amongst the youth. Why? Because of Naira Marley. So we have to be responsible for the outcome of what our followers do in the long run, because whatever we do, they don't understand that is stage. That is not who we really are. However, so we need to be aware that our actions are in turn impacting the lives of others. So the moment we become a leader, no matter in what sphere, industry, or in what community, it's no longer about you alone. It's about your followers as well. So being accountable, being responsible for the actions of our followers, and accountable to them for trusting us with the power to take the lead on their behalf is very important. If any member of your team commits a crime, You don't have to wash your hand off the person. All you need to do is to take responsibility of your collective crime before the public and internally discipline the member for his crimes. What we see today are leaders who wash their hands off their members who have become victims or who have become the scapegoats for a particular thing that the team should have come together to stand together to say, yes, I am actually responsible for this. Take, for instance, a captain of a ship, a sinking ship. He doesn't jump off, he doesn't go overboard. He stays with the ship till till either the ship is saved or it's sunk. Likewise, in personal leadership, for the youth of today, Madam Chika said something that that the difference is in leader, the difference about success and failure, the difference about who is ready for governance is actually leadership. And it starts from personal leadership, how you can govern, how you can personally govern yourself, not to talk about governing others. And she said something about serve first before you can serve others. When you are personally disciplined and accountable and you understand who you are and what you want out of life, you'll realize that before you can lead, you must be a follower. And if you understand what it means to be a follower, then you become a better leader who people can follow, whose actions are good enough for your followers to emulate. That way, it causes a ripple effect in the society that releases positive energy, positive outcomes. And before long, we start seeing a society that is disciplined, accountable, and is interested in good governance. The third part of that, understanding accountability, I want to talk about is responsibility for your team result. Now, for you to be a leader, to be accountable, it's not just being in office, it's not just being a youth desiring leadership. What you need to also understand is that being accountable as a leader is being responsible for the positive overall results of your team, of your government, of your state, of your family, of your brothers and sisters, or whatever group that you find yourself in as a young person. When you are given the responsibility of leading a team, it means that you have the duty of making sure that the team gets certain results. And that result is the desired result that will lead to the global bucket of the organization or of nation building. So when you'll be required to give account of your team's effort, you cannot, it's imperative I stress this, you cannot exonerate yourself from failure of the entire team. It's very important is on your shoulder. Rest firmly and squarely on your shoulder. So personal leadership is accountability in leadership. Accountability in leadership involves leaders being accountable for his or her action while he discharges his leadership roles and accountable to those that they lead. They must be accountable to those that they lead. It's your state of mind. You have to be able to tell yourself that I'm in this to win it. I'm in this to get a greater result. I'm in this, to understand that I am responsible for what happens in the course of my leadership. And I owe it to those that appointed me to account for my stewardship. Once we have this mindset, then the rest is history. The chances are that you would be a great leader when you are appointed into a position, or you will become a great leader the minute you change your mindset and reassess and redress your steps. So accountability in leadership is very important because no leader is appointed for himself for his own interest alone. That's not possible. Leadership is trust that people have on you, as a means of creating a better society, because you have the requisite skill, or you have shown yourself to have the requisite skill required to deliver on that mandate. So a leader who is not accountable to himself cannot discharge his leadership duties effectively. It's impossible, absolutely impossible. Accountability is a means of giving accounts of one's activities while one holds a leadership position. It's very important. In my life, from when I started serving to now that I run my own business, and now I also work for a leader, these principles have helped me become who I am today. So for me, the path to accountability for leaders is to start with a big goal. You cannot become a great leader if you don't have vision of where you want to go, or where you want to be, or who you want to become, or the outcome that you want to see. as you begin your journey into leadership. The true test of a good goal is that it benefits the people primarily and not just yourself, like I've stressed earlier. Not necessarily to enrich your pocket as a leader, but for the benefit of your community. No leader gets all the results for his group. It's teamwork. So for you to be a great leader, you must remember to carry your team along and to plan for success. You must have a strategic plan in place. As an individual, as a young person, when I was 18, I had already mapped out my life, where I wanted it to be and how I wanted it to play out. And I must tell you that it hasn't gone too far away from that. Even when crisis hits and I find myself poles away and miles away from where I thought I would be in my life, because I already have a strategic plan for my life. I know what I want out of my life. I somehow find a way to harm myself back into the direction and work according to plan to get the desired outcome. So to become an accountable leader, you should be clear of your role in achieving the big goal as well as other members of your team. Without clarity on this, many things will be left undone because everybody thinks someone will do it. You must be accountable. You must get up and take action. You cannot wait for anybody to do what you are supposed to do. You can delegate, but delegate with wisdom. Delegate to somebody who will get the job done and not somebody who will put you and the entire team in trouble, right? So drive your team for success, because that is why you're a leader. As a young person, your personal accountability is to drive yourself to success. Make sure that every step you take is leading you to your desired goal and your desired outcome. You must lead as a steward. You must be a servant leader. Serve from the front, serve from the middle, and serve from the back. You must be able to understand the entire process of whatever it is that you are ready to do. And you are never too young to become a leader. You are never too young. There are 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year-olds that have been entrusted with the responsibility to take care of their younger ones. They are minors. However, mentally, they've been upskilled to the point where they realize what is right, what is wrong, timing, emotional intelligence, and the things to do and when to do it. So for me, I would want to wrap up my session, because I have to jump off into another session shortly, is that the things that you need to consider when you are thinking about personal leadership and accountability and discipline is to understand what your role is in this life. Understand what you have been put here to do. When you are working, understand your role at work. Right? And then come to work prepared to discharge your duties as a young person. I'm tired of hearing about young people who are demotivated, who are not productive, who are not valuable, but they have a master's degree, they have a BSc, but when they are put into that particular role, they underserve. So you must tell yourself that you must be prepared to give ultimate value in the role that you find yourself in. And you must come to work prepared to discharge your duties. The third thing I want to leave with you is work for results and not eye service. In anywhere you find yourself, that is what personal leadership is. Be accountable. Show up the way you would show up as if the president were looking at you. Be that person that we see when we see you, and be that person that we don't see. Make sure that you are the same person 360 degrees at every touch point. It's important. So I'll leave you with these 4 points. Define your vision in life. What do you want out of life? It's an important question to ask. And then support what you want out of life with deliberate action, like the former speaker said. Be deliberate about your actions. Be deliberate about the people that you surround yourself with. Be deliberate about the things that you say. Be deliberate about the things that you see, the things that you watch, the things that you read. All these things have a way of building you up or bringing you down. Second thing I'll leave with you tonight is develop a game plan for vision actualization. By the time you see yourself, see the person that you want to become, you must develop a plan that will lead you to that destination. You cannot get to a destination without knowing your route, without mapping out your route. It's impossible. You will miss your way and you find yourself in another destination. So it's important to make sure that you are properly guided by having a strategic plan in place to help you reach your goal. Galvanize people towards your goal. Make sure that the people that you around you are positive. They encourage you and they buy into your vision. And the last but not the least, keep your eyes on the bottom line. Keep your eyes on the goal. Keep your eyes on your return on investment. Thank you very much, Louisa, for this opportunity. I have to jump on a call. I have an accountability challenge going on, and I must, get back to it to be able to also speak to those people there.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you so much. It was so good to see you again. And of course, Muna has got the accountability challenge that has started. Has it started already, Muna?
Yes, it started. But we are open for registration now for September, and the link is in my personal page on Facebook.
Okay, so if you're just listening to this now and you want to connect with Muna, Onuza is right on social media as a startup doctor. She's on every place you should find her. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, she's on Google, and she's also on LinkedIn. And you can be part of this amazing challenge that is helping a lot of great minds, entrepreneurs, professionals, leaders. So go over and see Muna. And Muna, thank you for your time, because I know that you have another session. Thank you. It was so good to see you. And so right now we have to bring on to the screen Marie Cosgrove. Thank you so much, Marie. It's good to have you in the house here. I'm so honored that you made up time. Now, some of us are just joining us for the first time. Welcome, some. It's good to have you here from Ireland. We have so many countries that are represented here, and this is a global forum today, and I feel extremely honored that we're here to support the young people for the International Youth Day. So are you a young person or you have a young person around you? Listen, where have you been? You need to invite them to be part of this session. Come on now. Share this on your page and invite others to be part of this. Invite your neighbors, your friends, your enemies too. Anyone who is interested in taking on the baton to lead the next generation, bring them on here, because the focus of this session is really to empower the young people who are aspiring to become leaders. And the contents here should help them create some kind of value to activate social change. We've heard a lot of speakers from when we started on what is important to take the young people forward. We talked about the power of collaboration with Dr. Raymond Halal. We talked about representation from Congresswoman Chikas Kumle, all the way from Nigeria. And then, of course, Muna just talked about discipline and accountability. So young people, yes, we're ready to lead, but these are the things that will help you to be successful. And of course, I'm bringing here my colleague and friend and sister, amazing Marie, who is a professional, international professional speaker and trainer and coach. And Marie, I know that you're quite busy, but I really appreciate that you made up time to make it here. And that just shows the heart that you have for the young people. And this is why you just had to squeeze. I didn't even think you were going to be able to make it, but this is amazing. So you can go, Mary, for the next 15 minutes, because I know that you have a session at 3, but thank you so much for making out time to be here. And over to you, Mary.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed Mona's talk about, the 360 was really awesome. We need to be the same as we are everywhere where you are. The way you act in private is the way you should act in public, and you should not have a different persona for different people. And that is really crucial. And so I will share just with you a few lessons that I learned, because we've got 15 minutes. I'll share 2 lessons that I've learned. And one took me from getting fired to buying the same company that fired me. And the other one got me to where I am today. And I think it's really important if you are looking to grow, it doesn't matter what age you are, but for the youth specifically, if you can learn these 2 lessons early on, it's going to help you tremendously. So I will share with you a part of my testimony because our tests in life do become our testimony, and it kind of helps us share what we've learned throughout life so that we can help each other grow and be successful in life. And one of the first lessons that I learned growing up is, and I know it may be a little bit different than what you may have heard before or what is being taught commonly in personal development, but one of the lessons that I learned is there's a saying that says, when you make plans, God laughs. And there's a place where that came from. And for me, my favorite book, it says, you who say today, tomorrow, we will go to this city or to that city. We're going to spend time there. We're carrying on a business. We're going to make money. Why do you not even know what will happen tomorrow? What is your life? You're a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will do this or that. So for those of you who are not believers, that's okay, but it is an important lesson, because if anything we have learned from 2020 is all the plans that we had just disappeared, and we have no control over people's actions or things that happen within the world. Sometimes we have no control of the weather. We cannot change it. We can't make it rain or stop raining unless God's wills it. And so this is an important lesson that I learned early on, actually, from my birth, because the way I got here is I'm a product of rape. My mother was raped after she was in a car accident. She was in a car accident going to a wedding with her parents, and she was in a coma for over 3 months, and the doctor says there was no way she was going to make it. And I'm going to make this really try to shorten this up for you guys, but after 3 months, the doctors wanted to pull the plug, and they said, there's nothing you can do. There's no way she's going to make it. My grandmother prayed and prayed, and she says, no, I believe in faith. And they never did make it to the wedding, but miraculously the next day, after the doctors had threatened to pull the plug, and my grandmother had begged for one more day, she opened her eyes and learned how to walk and talk and how to do everything all over again. But she was left with mental illness permanently. And while she was recovering, learning how to walk and talk, she was raped. And that's how I came into this world. So it was not planned, totally unplanned. And my mom was in college at that time. She was engaged to be married, and life was completely planned out for her. She knew what she wanted to do. She knew her goals. She knew everything, and everything was going well for her. She was a straight A student. She was really beautiful. But then the accident happened. And then on top of that, she had to suffer from mental illness for the rest of her life. And then she had a baby out of wedlock and out of rape as a single mom. So to complicate things more, now you have, and this was in 1970 when I was born, 1969, the accident happened. That's a time where you do not have, in the Hispanic culture, especially at that time period, you do not have a child out of wedlock. So in the States, that brought a lot of shame into the family. And I'm going to fast forward to the time when I got fired from a company. I was working for a medical device company, selling devices, doing really well as the #1 national sales representative in the company. And I thought, wow, my life is perfect. It's exactly as I have it planned. I had my goals. I would write down what I wanted to accomplish. And then one day I get a call and I'm told, hey, we're really proud of the work you're doing. We want to meet with you. So how many of you have had plans and they don't turn out exactly how you had expected? And that's what I'm talking about. So my point is, we don't know what's going to come tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with planning, but don't be disappointed if things don't go your way. Always have an open mind, and always look for opportunities when things don't go your way. What are the positive aspects of what has happened? And I know sometimes it's hard to see the positive aspects. I know for my mom, it was hard to see or my grandmother, what possibly could be good out of this situation. Well, what was good about it is the miraculous recovery of my mom. and having a new life into this world, where a lot of people would look at it and say, it's best to abort because that's what they wanted to do, to abort me. And the doctor said that there was no way I could survive in the womb under all the medications that she was in. But they looked at the opportunities and the possibilities instead of all the negativity that was going on in their lives. So when I was approached and I was told that I was doing a really good job, I was really excited because I thought a promotion was coming. After all, I was the #1 national sales representative, so that would be expected to get a promotion. However, I was told that I was making too much money in commissions and they were letting me go. So I went from doing really well, being able to support myself and 4 children as a single mom, to making zero, making nothing at all. So I lost all of my income just in a day. And I had to look at the opportunity. So life is always going to throw things at you, and you always need to be prepared to be able to handle these things and to be able to handle them in a calm way without losing control and being able to control your emotions. And that's one of the most important lessons that I've learned in my life that I know can help you too, because if it it is how you react to life, because you can react and I was justified in suing for a wrongful termination, and a lot of people encouraged me to do that, but I decided to follow the lessons that my grandfather taught me of forgiveness. Vengeance is not ours, and look for the opportunities. There's something else. And so that's what I did. I started another company. I looked for an opportunity, and the opportunities did come. And when I had the new opportunity to start a new company, we made it very successful. 2 years later, when they saw our success, I got a call from the company that fired me, and they said, "Are you interested in investing in our company?" After 6 months of negotiations, it turned out that I bought the majority of the shares in the company. And that was 10 years ago. And so a lot of changes have happened since then. And I've had the opportunity to have speaking engagements with Les Brown, Nick Vujicic. Right before the shutdown, we spoke to 15,000 youth, or actually over that, in Texas, South Texas, live. And I had no plans of speaking in front of these youth. I had set up an event. Nick and I spoke at an arena, and then we had another event at a school that I had set up for Nick, and I expected him to speak. Had no intentions of speaking. And he says, "No, you're going to go up. You're going to go up for 30 minutes. You're going to speak, and it's going to be live streamed." Initially, only his talk was going to be live streamed to school districts all across the US. And he decided to allow the live stream to go on while I was speaking. So you need to always be prepared, because you don't know what life is going to throw at you. You always need to be prepared to be able to shift and make decisions not based out of emotion, because you can get very angry very easily or very depressed when things don't go your way. But instead, look at the opportunity. What are the possibilities within that opportunity? There's always a possibility. And if you don't see it, ask for wisdom. Ask for wisdom. As a believer, the Bible says that if we ask for wisdom, God will give us wisdom. If we ask, he'll give it to us generously. You can also turn to other people that have more experience than you do, that have been successful in life, who have experienced what you have experienced, and turn to them. But there's always an opportunity, and there's always, I'll give you an example. Even with this shutdown, a lot of businesses have been shut down, but a lot of businesses have decided to, just like Luisa's doing here right now, is doing an online webinar. And we've been doing all of our demonstrations for medical devices. We've been doing them online instead of doing them in service, doing it on site. Now, some physicians still insist on doing on site, so we try to accommodate that. But we try to change, and we try to pivot, and we try to work within the changes that have come up. And when things don't go our way, or things don't go as we had planned, we try to look for the opportunities in other areas so that we can be successful. It doesn't have to destroy us. Bad things do happen in life. That is a fact of life, and we cannot change that, because say we're in a cafe, we're having coffee and someone walks in with a gun, we can't control that person, but we can control how we react. We can control how we decide to take action. We can, do something stupid that can put us in more danger, or we can take action that will help save more lives. So those are the two things: is how you react, and you never know how things are going to turn out when you plan things. Look for the opportunity. That is really key, is looking for opportunities in adversity, looking for opportunities when things don't go your way. Because life has shown us, 2020, you can't plan things out as much as we'd like to. Think that we have full control. We don't have full control over other people. We don't have full control over other people's actions. We simply don't. We wish we could, and we could influence people, but the best way to do that is, as the previous speaker said, that if you want to influence people positively, is taking care of your own self, taking care of your own character, making sure you're walking in with good character, good values, and having that same character, the same values that you have, making sure you have those 360, 24/7. They don't only apply when you're at work or when you're with this group of people. Your values don't change. And for the young people, this is important, because a lot of times we are influenced by peer pressure. And so your values may change based on what somebody else is doing. You cannot have that. If you have those good values, you may be able to influence and create change on a massive scale. If you're willing to stand strong, even if you're the only person who is standing for what is right and what is true, even if you're the only one and everybody else disagrees with you, but if you can be that person amongst people who agree with you, you need to be that same person amongst people who do not agree with you. And that's the way you're going to influence, and that's how you will create change and make a difference in the world.
This is so powerful. And thank you so much, Marie, for sharing that. This is so great. I'm so honored to have you here. And I was going to say that, I remember a couple of years ago when we met, and I remember the story of, I love to listen to people's biography and their personal stories, because there's always so much lessons, within that. And I remember thinking about Steve Jobs and Apple, and the story of Starbucks, how they started and how they had lost their job and came back to buy over the company. And I thought, really, is that even possible? And then a couple of years later, I met you. And that was the exact same thing that happened. And I want to say that I'm always so inspired by the work that you do and how far you've come. But I have a question for you, which of course is focused on this young people. So looking at your younger self, before this whole journey started, what would you have wished was in place at that time that could have helped you a lot better? Because it must have been, of course, we're hearing about the glory and how wonderful this is, but I know there are things that you had to put in place. There's some kind of discipline, maybe routine or whatever that you had to do. So what was it that you had to put in place that helped you to get to the highest level of the company, or even to buy over this company years later? Over to you, Mary.
So some of the things that I had to put in place was exactly what I was talking about earlier. Is what you've got to let go of ego. You can't have that, and you have to be able to be willing to work with change. That is so important. And you need to also make sure that you don't hold any bitterness. One of the questions that somebody asked me: when you bought the company that fired you, did you fire the people that fired you? And I said no. And they're like, well, why not? Like, I would have done that. That's the first thing I would have done. I'm like, well, because they created the company and they were like the smartest people. I cannot run it without them. In fact, I'm not. There's really, I'm just a small part of the company. Everybody else is at a much higher level intellectually, because I am not an engineer, I'm not a clinician. So everybody else is at a much higher level intellectually than I am when it comes to education. However, you need to learn. You can still work with that. A perfect example we have is Ford. Henry Ford. They we all know the story of when they asked him, well, you're the dumbest person, you don't know this, you don't know that, and then he says, I don't need to be, I push a button and I get the person who knows what I don't know. And so one of the things is being able to collaborate, like your earlier speaker mentioned, collaboration is key. Being able to collaborate with others and be able to work with others that have different skill sets than you do, and bring them up. Don't be afraid, or don't be threatened by somebody else's intellectual, if they're at a much higher intellectual level, don't let that intimidate you. You need to accept that and learn from that and embrace them, because you're going to learn from people that know more than you do. And as a young person, that is really crucial. I remember when I was working for a Fortune 500 company at one time, and I was in management, and they said, well, why do you keep hiring all these people that have a much higher education than you do? I said, because I want the department to thrive. The only way the department's going to thrive and be successful is if I bring in people that are smarter than I am. And that is how we're going to thrive. But if you bring in people that are less experienced than you are, and that way you can be at the top, you're never going to grow. You're never going to reach above that level. Why? Because you're the smartest person in the room. Everybody else around you is a lot less, educated than you are, or less experienced. You can't grow higher than that. So you always want to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that have more experience than you do.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mary. Of course, we have Clarence in the house. We have comments here, but unfortunately, we're not putting on the screen just because we want people to be able to have access to a clean video later on. But I really appreciate everyone who has made out time to be here. And yes, collaboration is key. We've had other speakers speak about the same thing. You must be open to collaboration versus competition. And I love that, Mary, I can really feel your heart there, being able to work with people who actually fired you before. Like, hello, the first thing anyone would think about is like, let me throw them out of the door. But that wasn't what you were concerned with. It was all about the big goal. It was all about the why. It was all about the results, not about, what is happening, what is going on. So, but I really appreciate, you're making out time to be here, Mary. Thank you so much. And we were going to have the next person that we're going to have really is UD. But UD, please just pardon me because Barbara has got a hard stop. Today is the International Youth Day, the different sessions that are running. And so we'll just have Barbara take over the game. But before she does that, let me tell you who this amazing, beautiful lady is. Her name is Barbara Frankson. And first of all, she's my sister, but she's also migrated from St. Catherine, Jamaica to the United States in 1971. Barbara is a certified coach, trainer, speaker with the John Maxwell team. She uses her certification in the United States and internationally to assist in helping others find their voice, value, purpose. She is also an international speaker for God. She uses her testimonies to inspire and encourage others to move from a victim mentality to a victor and find their God-given purpose. She stands on Isaiah 61:1. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners. And I think that at this time, it's so great for me to let you know that Barbara is the author of Transformation from Religion to Relationship. For those seeking a closer work with God, this book is a blueprint for those who desire to have a one-on-one relationship with their Lord and Savior. So help me welcome Barbara Frankson in the house. Barbara, it's such an honor to have you here as you take on the topic of self-leadership, purpose, and value. Over to you, Barbara. You have 15 minutes. And I know that Reverend Rajan is right here and needs to go from South Africa, but Barbara, do your thing. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Louisa. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak and allowing me to be a part of this wonderful opportunity. I always say that our pain creates our passion, which create our purpose. So I've had a lot of pain when I was young. And even with Marie speaking before, saying, you know, God says that we know what our plans are, but our plans are foolish before God. I tell the young people that I go into schools. Before the pandemic, I had the opportunity to go into schools and speak to the youth. And one thing that stood out in every single school, in every single round table or mastermind that I had, was their value, what they thought of themselves, their purpose. And I used to always tell them, before you were in your mother's womb, God designed you with purpose. But what happens is something comes along the way to take that purpose away from us. In December of 2019, right before the pandemic, I had the opportunity to go into 3 different schools in Jamaica. And I asked to speak to the young ladies. Not that I did not want to speak to the men, but I thought it was very important that we spoke to the girls because, you know, when we go back to the Bible and we think about Adam and Eve, and we think about how the woman was created out of man, God showed me that the women are leaders. They are leadership, that the youth are leaders, but so many times the young ladies get carried away by things that they're not supposed to. So one of the things is when I spoke to them, I said, Mark Twain has a quote that says, the 2 most important days of a person's life is when they are born and when they discover why. Well, if they don't know why they're born, if they don't know that they have purpose, if they don't know that they have value, then they cannot walk into their destiny. Now, this is it's International Youth Day, and it's so important. It's so amazing to see all of the different countries that are in the house, because as Louisa said in my introduction, I'm originally from Jamaica, and I was given an opportunity by someone to come into this country. And I think we are blessed to be blessings. Like I said, pain, passion, purpose. Our walk determines our destiny. So one of the things that I think about is when I was in school and I was bullied. I was bullied. I was still designed with purpose, but I was bullied. I was afraid to do oral presentations. I would skip my classes just not to go to class. I would skip my classes because I was afraid to speak in front of an audience. And I was also afraid of getting on an airplane. And you probably say, well, what's that got to do with everything? It has a lot to do with things. Because when we're designed with purpose, things come in our life to try to derail us from our purpose. If I had not seen what my bullies saw, and what my bullies saw was, they saw my purpose when I couldn't. They saw my purpose when I couldn't, and the enemy used them to try to take away my purpose. And now I go and I speak internationally. I go into schools. If I had allowed that to happen, I would not have been able to. The airplane. I was afraid to get on a plane. Yeah, until 9/11. And a lot of people say, wow, 9/11, that's when you should have been scared. No, because I realized that if that was my destined purpose, that is the way that I'm going to die, then the plane can come out of the sky, and that is how I would die. And if I had not gotten over that, then what would have happened is my first time speaking internationally, I landed in Paraguay on 9/11 and did not even know that. So one of the things that I say to the youth is this: know your purpose, know your value. Muna talked about self-leadership. And if you don't know your value, you can't lead. If you don't know your value, you cannot lead. John Maxwell, leadership is influence, nothing more, but nothing less. Who is influencing our youth? Who is influenced? Look at their circle. Look at their inner circle. Are they being influenced by their parents? And if so, what are we doing? Are they being influenced by the teachers? Are they being influenced by their peers? Who has influenced them? And one of the speakers said that, I think it was Muna also, she said they're being influenced by celebrities. They're not seeing the real thing, but they just see something. So who's influencing the youth? It is so important, especially now in the pandemic, that we step forward, because guess what? School is not the same as normal. We don't even know. In August in Connecticut, where I live now, some are going back to school and some are not. So what are we going to do in our homes to ensure that our kids that are leading now, by the way, they're leading now. How do you like that they're leading? Because what you put in them will determine how they lead. And if they don't know their value, if they don't know their worth, if someone or something or life is happening to take that away from them, they cannot get to the place that they were destined to get to. They cannot get to where they were designed. God has designed them with purpose, and all our purpose is linked with people. Leadership, self-lead, the individuals that are about to pour into the youth. How are we leading ourselves? How are we, especially in a pandemic, how are we reaching our goals? That is a teachable lesson, because what we do daily determine the outcome. What we pour into ourselves, what we allow others to pour into us. For instance, are we uplifting the youth? Are we telling them that they have greatness in them? Or are we telling them that they're going to fail? Are we telling them that they're not going to be any good? When I was growing up, my greatest leader was my grandmother. She's the one that spoke life into me. There are a lot of youth now that have no one in their lives to speak life to them. I believe I was in 5th grade when my teacher told me, you're not supposed to be as smart as us. And what us was people that are white. I'm not supposed to be as smart. And for the longest time, I believed that. Are we allowing people to speak death into our lives? Are we allowing people to speak death into the youth lives? Are we allowing ourselves? Are we speaking life or death into our children? Because it starts in the home. Are we speaking life or death into individuals' life? We are examples, living testimonies where our pain is. It creates a passion for our purpose. When I was 19 years old, my mom died. I watched her suffer for a whole year. I had 2 choices. I could either go into depression, I could be sad, I could allow my circumstances to define me, or I define my circumstances. But I decided that I was not going to do that. I was homeless. I lived in my car for part of my studies, but someone found me and gave me shelter. And I ended up having 2 degrees. And that is one of the reasons. There's so many people that God has sent along the way to help me. And now I believe that he has sent me to help others. The name of my program that I've started was Gifted Warriors. And the reason why is what I said before. We're all designed with purpose, every single one of us, regardless of whether we're walking in it or not. So we're all gifted. Warriors fight, but our youth are fighting the wrong things. They are fighting the wrong things. It's up to us to build a platform that is so great in design. The things that happen to us is not for us. It's for us to give the youth so that it will empower them. Each generation comes greater and greater and greater. The youth are leading now, so it's up to us to give them the tools that they need. Gifted warriors. Yes, they are gifted. They are warriors. Help them to fight for the right things. Influence. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Let's be the ones to influence them. Let's be the ones to speak life into them. I have affirmations. I am. I am designed with purpose. I am priceless. I am worthy. I am the bearer of greatness. I am a leader. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am enough. We have to teach our youth how to get to those affirmations, even when people are trying to bring them down. And that's it, Louisa. That's it.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much, Barbara. This is so good. I have, we've connected for a couple of years, and you've become my sister and family. And I love the work that you do, even with Equip. I love the work that you do in different countries for the young people. And this is the reason why we had to bring your message here, because I know the heart that you have for the young people and what you do and this is what you do on a daily basis. But I just have one question for you, because just before we bring in Reverend Rajan, who of course is all the way in South Africa, and we have UD as well. I think our timing kind of got messed up for a bit, but we appreciate everyone, for making out time. Some people had some emergencies. We had to accommodate that. Doesn't matter how short it was for them to speak with us. So, Barbara, my question for you would be, where do the young people begin from? I know that you've talked about purpose and how important that is. Because I think that even not just for the young people, even for adults, it's so important that we know our why, because when there is so much going on, especially in times like this, with one lesson that we've learned from this pandemic is all the uncertainties, different things that can show up. And the only thing that keeps you going really is your why, which is your purpose. So let's talk to your younger self. Where can we begin from? Like if you look at yourself like 20 years from now, 20 years behind, and what would be the best step to begin to find your why and your purpose? Over to you, Barbara.
Okay, my younger self, I had to go back a little bit, Louisa. My younger self, I would say not to allow fear to stop you from walking into faith. I would say, do not allow anyone to say that you cannot do something, but to say, I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Do not allow your rooms, the table that you're in. If you're the smartest person in that room, find a new room. And my daily planning would be different. I would have sat down, and what you do today will determine what you do in the future. So I would sit down and make goals. There's a difference between goals and dreaming. So when we dream, that's just it. But when we have a goal, we make a plan to get there. There's a saying that basically says, if we plan to fail, we fail to. If we fail to plan, we plan to fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, it's the Civilized Presence. You're definitely in the right place. The conversation today is, of course, about the Young People International Youth Day. And so please bring on everyone around you who is a young person, young leader, young professional, someone who is interested in just making a difference. Bring them on. And of course, the parents should be in the session. Are you just watching and not inviting people to be part of what we're doing? Just do us a favor and share this video on your page. Start up a watch party on your page. The message has been amazing. It's been good from different leaders from all over the world. So you don't want to miss this. And I'm about to have Reverend Rajan Naidu set this place on fire, because I know what Reverend Rajan has got. So I'm going to give him some time, another 10, 15 minutes, just to bring it on, bring the message right from Durban, South Africa. So Reverend Rajan, welcome to the house. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you here, sir. It's so good to see you here, my friend. Thank you for making out time. And Reverend Rajan, of course, there's so many great things about him, but I know that we've taken a lot of his time, but he's also certified John Maxwell trainer, speaker, coach, and of course, he's a minister of the word. Most importantly, I think that's the most important for me from, Salt and Pepper Ministries in Durban, South Africa. So welcome, Reverend Nigel. Please, over to you.
Thank you very much, Louise. Thank you for having me on this learning platform. And I bring you greetings from South Africa. And I'm sure today that this world is not going to be the same after this program, because we are going to impact so many lives. We are going to prepare the future generation to take their role that God has for them. So today I am happy to be on this platform to address people all over the world and to make a difference. I believe that there's an urgent call to minister to young people, and here in Africa especially, 40% of our population are between the ages of 15 to 29. So it's a real youth bulge. And I believe that engaging our youths globally is very essential for the well-being of our entire world. So today, I am a faith man, as you heard, and therefore I come from the perspective of biblical values and biblical principles. I believe that prosperity is more vital than prosperity. Just a short word to our parents, and then I will share a short word of advice for our young people that are listening to us, and then I will bring my session to a close. I want to talk about communicating to the next generation. How we communicate is of very, very vital importance. Because I am speaking to you now doesn't mean I'm communicating. Only when you hear what I am saying and apply what I am saying, then we have successfully communicated. Otherwise, it's just a few minutes of hot air being released. Communication to our young people is very vital, because remember, the key to communicating to our young people is appeal to their hearts, not their minds. I'll repeat it. Appeal to their hearts, not to their minds. Remember, they have a mind of their own. They are influenced by so many things in our world. The enemy sometimes blinds their eyes, their minds are led away. Sometimes they are given over to depraved minds. They make man their role model, so they develop their own mental capacity. So we can't appeal to their minds. We have to appeal to their hearts. So communicating to young people is a huge lesson. My session has 5 sessions, this subject alone. So I'm going to be able to capsulate it in a few minutes based on time. And I chose to speak on one aspect of it, which is Jesus Christ as our model. Okay? How do we communicate to our young people with Jesus Christ as our model, as our pattern? And if we can make the Lord our pattern, we will never ever get into a wrong style of living or a wrong lifestyle. Jesus Christ was our model. Number one, how do I communicate to young people using Jesus Christ as our model? Number one, take the initiative. Jesus Christ took the initiative. It was not John the Baptist's influence. God himself took the initiative of sending his son. Jesus left heaven, came and died for us. He took the initiative. He made the move. So, number one, you and I need to take initiative when dealing with young people. You make the first move. Don't wait for them to make the move, to do things. You be the initiator. Okay? You take the role of starting things. Okay? You take the role of making time for them. Okay? Because taking the initiative demands time. You have to start things. And when they see you taking initiative, it means that you are taking interest. You have their future in mind. Okay? So take the initiative. Number two, understand the culture. Okay? Understand the youth culture. Understand where they are coming from. Okay? Jesus lived for 30 years. And in his youth, he started off his ministry. He started off taking time, in his life for 30 years. It was a particular time in his life. So he was able to understand, what was expected of him, because he could understand the culture of the Jewish nation, how they thought, how they believed. So number two, understand the culture, the history, the time we are living in. Okay? We are not living in times past where we as adults did things the way we did it. Now we have to understand the times and culture that the young people are living in. Because remember, being young and being called youth is new to them. For adults, it's an experience, but for them, it's new. So, number one, take the initiative. Number two, understand the culture. And number three, Jesus identified with man. Okay? Identify with man. Identify with the young people. They have hurts. They have pains. Jesus, his disciples saw him when he was tired, when he was thirsty, when he was hurting, or when he was sad, when he cried. You see, every facet of his life, he identified with man. Identifying with man brought him to have common experiences. When you identify with young people, it allows you to have common experiences. He identified with men that were blind and men that were sick, and he identified with his disciples who were fishermen. So the number three is identify with the youths. Find common experiences. Number four, Jesus became involved, and that brought him to a place of teachable moments. When you get involved with young people, okay, by accompanying them to the soccer field, by kicking a ball with them, by watching a movie with them, by playing a computer game with your adolescent son or daughter, you begin to create teachable moments. So number four, teachable moments. Number one, take the initiative. Number 2, understand the culture. Number 3, identify with them, reach common experiences. Number 4, become involved so that you can create teachable moments. Number 5, build relationships. Very important when you are dealing with young people. Build relationships. Jesus came to build relationships. And you know what? It cost him his life. Build relationships. And the closest relationship you can build is a friendship relationship. When you build friends with young people, they will be able to open up with you. You will find a teachable moment. You will find common experiences. So building friendship is very important. Now, Jesus at this stage, when he built relationships, he earned the right to speak, to be heard. So when you reach this level of communication with young people, to build a friendship relationship, you earn the right to be heard. Now you have access into their lives to share the good news of God to them, to instill in them values. Okay, so the model of Jesus is a workable model. Number 1, take the initiative. Number 2, understand the culture. Number 3, identify with them, create common experiences. Number 4, become involved and create teachable moments. Number 5, build friendship relationships. Nobody wants to share things openly with a stranger. Become their friend. Okay, and in that way you will be able to effectively communicate with young people. So I trust that these few thoughts will help us as leaders, parents, adults, mentors to effectively communicate with our youth. Okay, communication is key. So let me just share a few moments before I go, a few minutes, and encourage our young people. Do not look anywhere else for motivation. Motivation is a built-in feature when God designed you. What lies ahead of you and what lies behind you, what lies beside you is nothing compared to what lies within you.
Yes.
So look within yourself. Look within yourself, because God has given you the ability to do what? The Bible says in Deuteronomy 8:18, it says it's God who gives us the ability to generate wealth.
Absolutely.
The word ability means creative ideas. So God will drop creative ideas in you. On this International Youth Day 2020, God is dropping seed thought into your minds, into your hearts, so that you can take that thought and run with it until it is a habit, until it's a lifestyle, and until it brings you the desired ambition that God has laid upon your heart. So you have great future. God has great things in store for you. And all you have to do is to allow God to know which is your first step. His word is a light unto our path and a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Lamp for the first step, light for the future. So you take the first step by faith. Young people, listen to me. You take the first step by faith, and God will show you a promising future He has for you.
Wow,
I trust that these seed thoughts will be a blessing to your heart. You don't have to blend in to the world. God never asked you to blend in. He asked you to stand out. Choose to be different. Dead fish swim upstream. Live fish swim downstream. Make a difference. God is relying on you. We cannot change the world, but we can change our world. God bless you.
Oh, this is so good, Reverend Rajan. I think that the message is not just for the young people, but also for me. It is for every one of us. It's such a timely message. I love that you talked about communicating, being so important with the next generation. Because if we're not communicating, then we're really not going to make any progress. We're really not going to move forward. And seeking to build great relationship with them, appealing to their hearts, that's a great place to connect from. I really enjoyed everything that you shared. Thank you so much. This is so good. This is so good. Guys, if you're just joining us, it's a Civilized Presence. And we've been on here. It's the International Youth Day. We have tons of leaders from different parts of the world sharing the great message for the young people. If you're seeking or you're interested in it, or you're aspiring to become a leader, you're aspiring to become a change maker, or a professional, an entrepreneur, you want to say yes to yourself. You want to say yes to your purpose. I think you should be in this session. And if you're just joining us, you might have to get back on a replay because it's been loads and loads of content for us. And please share this to everyone on your platform. Share this on your page. Invite others to be part of what we're doing. Reverend Rajan, I just have one question for you. And I know the work that you do with the young people, value-based leadership training. I see what you do all the time. In Dublin and in different neighboring countries around you. Right. So my question for you would be, what's a good place for a young person to begin? So because I can imagine with all the conversation that is happening right now, I'm looking at myself of 20 years ago. You're going to be like, okay, so where do I begin from? Where do I start from? What's the next step? So what's a good next step for a young person around you? Over to you, Reverend Martin.
Yeah, I think with the young people, if you're listening to me, I think where you need to start is you need to understand who you are and your place on earth. God, you are not a mistake. Even if you are born out of wedlock, you are not a mistake.
Right.
You have a purpose. God made you and he threw the mold away. There is not one like you. And for you to fulfill your assignment, you have an assignment on earth. If I want to know how to fix my car, I would go to the manufacturer of my car.
That's right.
I will not go to somebody who just knows about my car. I will go to the manufacturer because the manufacturer knows and he has the manual.
Yes.
So I'm saying today to all you young people that want to start somewhere, go to the manufacturer, go to God, ask him, what do you want me to do? He will not only give you your assignment, but he will equip you to carry out your assignment. You will never reach fulfillment if you are doing something that God never asked you to do.
Wow, this is
so I come talking to you. It's all about communication. You talk to God. You ask him.
Yes.
He's your daddy. God is a father, not a formula. You ask him, he will lead you. And also, be open, have your mind open. God speaks through people. God speaks through media. Man is his medium. So we will speak through somebody for you.
Right.
Be open. Have your hearts open, your minds open, so that you can hear what he is saying to you. He will give you direction. And listen, an idea has a very short shelf life. If you leave the idea on the shelf too long, you will lose it. Implement it.
Right.
Do it. And you will find God will take you from strength to strength.
This is so good. Thank you so much, Dr. Rajan. If you're just joining, the message of Dr. Rajan is go back to your creator. I think there's some feedback there. Can we just mute your microphone? If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. I don't know what feedback.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a feedback, but I
Hello.
hello.
Okay. Are we all right now?
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Rajan. Your message that was wonderful. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much. So we're just going to call panelists here. Genevieve from Nigeria. I'm not sure why we're. Can we put our microphones on, please? So let's just try to take back.
Hello?
Okay. Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Okay. I'm still having a feedback. So what's going on? Hello, can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Really? Is that
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you better. Can you hear me too?
Hello, is it better now?
It's better.
Okay, great. So we're good to go. Perfect. I'm not sure what happened. So guys, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Rajan, for such a great session there. I really enjoyed from Reverend Rajan Naido all the way from Durban, South Africa. And I loved how he ended it, that you know what, when you have a problem with yourself, you should go back to the manufacturer. You don't need to look onto somebody else because we're all co-creators. You have to go back to the one who created you. So thank you so much, Reverend Rajan. That was wonderful. And so we have Genevieve Omuka here. And let me just tell you who this lady is, and welcome, Genevieve. Genevieve is a biologist, humanitarian, and Genevieve Omuka Chigoziri is a storyteller, humanitarian, and a mental health and wellness campaigner. She is also the founder of GIFT Initiative, Giving Back to Society Initiative, a not-for-profit organization that engages women and youth by teaching them life-changing skills and mentoring them on purposeful leadership. She's also passionate about inspiring people to rise above societal tags and outlive their potential whilst maintaining a positive mental health. Hence, she created an organization that's called UCAN. UCAN is based in Africa, but of course, lately, Genevieve, I'm used to calling her Chaiki. Genevieve has been doing a lot of work, globally, working with the young people, and her message is amazing. I've seen what she does on a daily basis, and I just wanted her to share her experience as a young person who has been able to succeed, not just within her sphere, but also, globally, online. She's doing some really great work. And I just hope and pray and keep my fingers crossed that Genevieve's connection is going to be good to us, because it looks like we lost her there for a minute. Can you hear me, Genevieve? Can you hear me? Genevieve, can
Yes,
you hear
I'm
me?
here. I can hear you. Sorry about that. I tried.
No
Yes, I can
problem.
hear
Sounds
you.
good.
Yes, I can
So
hear
I'm
you.
going to let you.
Can
Okay.
you hear
So we're just
me?
going to let you go. I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Hello, Genevieve. How is that? Can you hear me?
Thank you, Dr. Louisa. Thank you to the amazing panelists. I am Onka Genevieve Chigazuri. Hello. I hear you.
Yes, there is a
Do you hear
delay.
me?
There is a delay. Yes, we can hear you. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, it looks like she's frozen there. We're gonna bring back Genevieve. I do hope that this gets back on. She has an amazing message with what she's doing with mental health in Africa, and this is why we had to bring her here today. But of course, we have my friend and brother, Dr. Ira. Hello,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm not sure what happened with Genevieve. I really apologize. Genevieve is back again. Just 1 second. Let's see if we can get her back. Genevieve, can you hear me now? Hmm, there's a delay. Hello, hello. Okay, there's a delay. So we'll go ahead with Dr. Ira for now, while we kind of get things sorted with Genevieve. I hope that Genevieve is able to come on because, like I said, people, she has an amazing message. Let me tell you, this lady is a change maker. And I bring only the best to the show. So anyone who is on the screen is the best at what they do. And I hope that I'm able to get her on to share her message and her story and what she's been doing and how she's able to work with other young people just to show them the path. But of course, Dr. Ira Roach is right here. He is no other person than he's my brother, he's a friend, he's a minister, and it's so good to have you here,
You as
Ambassador
well.
Dr. Ira Roach.
You as well, Dr. Louisa.
Yes, one thing that I'm going to say that he's also a minister of God and he has a heart for young people. Dr. Ira wrote just a lot of great and amazing things about him. So, Dr. Ira, I'm going to just allow you to do your thing while I try to fix things up for Genevieve. Please
Yes.
go ahead and do
First of
your
all,
thing.
thank you for inviting me to my first ever International Youth Day Summit where we can talk about some things. Dr. Louisa. My name is Dr. Ira, Ambassador Dr. Ira Roach. I'm from the United States, from Delaware, and I am a minister. I've been one for 16 years. And I want to bring a topic to young people to be limitless. I was talking to another one of the ambassadors who was a young entrepreneur, and he said something that was powerful. He said, we have many platforms, but we don't allow the young people to talk. We don't allow them to express themselves. And the main thing I want to talk about was the Bible says a man gift will make room for him and bring him before great men. And I believe that if we as people, as older people, as mentors, as influencers, would take the time out to hear these young people and allow them to express themselves, to hear what they want to be. We should not snatch it away from them because our parents told us that you had to get a job and go to college and get a 401k. The world is changing, and there's a set of young people called creatives. What is a creative? A creative is a child that thinks outside the box, where some of us are traditional and we believe this, that, and the other. Some of those gifts don't require being a doctor. Some don't require being a nurse. Some of those gifts, maybe they want to be a speaker. Maybe they want to be like Dr. Louisa or Oprah Winfrey. And if we are not careful, we will take them down. We will not allow them to be on the platform to allow God to use their gifts or the creator to use their gifts. And so this youth day, how can we intertwine together? By allowing young people to be limitless. Let's not impose on them what they can do in 2020 and beyond. Let's not impose on them. You limit yourself. You can only do this. You can only do that. You can never do that. The Bible says their gifts make room and bring them before great men. So their gifts and my gifts might be different. And let's mentor them. Let's take the time to mentor them. One of my favorite stories was about small David, who never knew that he was the king. And a lot of these young people don't know that they're kings because we have not told them. If you know the story of David, he was not even invited to the feast when there was something great about to happen in Israel. There was a big giant that said, I'm going to defy all Israel. He had everybody afraid, everybody scared. King Saul said, hey, Jesse, bring me some people from your house. Jesse brought his boys, but it wasn't David. Samuel, who was God's seer, said, this is not it. This might be the one. And the Creator had to remind him, no. I'm looking not on the outward, but I'm looking at their heart. And so I ask us today, during this awesome experience, let's look at the heart of these young people. Let's not discern the outside of them. Let's discern their heart. They've been in trouble. There are a lot of young people that have maybe made a mistake, and we never give them a second chance. And these are some of the greatest leaders and innovators and creatives in the world. So today, I just want to come on and say, young people, be limitless. Be limitless. Don't stop at what you've seen in front of you. Don't ever stop reaching and grabbing. Don't ever stop running and going. Don't ever stop not believing in yourself. Remember the story of David and how his own father didn't see that he was the very one that could destroy the giant. What are the giants we face today? Of depression, of oppression. There's a giant of depression that brings about suicide. Maybe that young person might be that creative to help destroy that giant. Not with the tools we use, but with tools they've already used to overcome the battles that they've had to fight within themselves. What are you talking about, Ambassador Roach? Well, David couldn't use King Saul's equipment. He had to use his slingshot. Something he said, I killed the lion and I killed the bear. I didn't use your stuff, but I used what I had. And what we need to do is see what these gifts, these young people have inside of them. And from these gifts, we have to use them and help them and mentor them and show them. And guess what? Not be jealous, because the world says, oh, I want them on TV, but not you. I want them to go over here, but not you. We want to love them and show them not to be limited, but be limitless. Whatever you have inside of you, whatever you've dreamt, whatever you can see, go for it. Go for it. It's a time now that the youth are today's world. They're today's world. And we want to be a person to help them, to educate them, to mentor them, to love them to another level, to say, be limitless, whatever it is, whatever it's doing. Remember, a man's gift to make room and bring them before great men. So I'm excited that young people today, that bullying that people talk about, I thought about it. Maybe it's because they see something in you. Maybe that giant that has been scaring everyone does not scare that young person with that gift to be able to move forward. I one day was limited. They told me, don't ever try to be an actor. Don't ever try to help people because you'll be hurt. But I realized that I was always a number 8, like David. I was working in the fields, killing the lion and the bear. And then when it was time to destroy the giant, many people didn't see. But look at me today, invited on a world stage platform to speak to a global audience. That's only because my gift made room and it brought me before great men and women. And I want every young person not to be limited to what you see around you. I haven't seen anyone be an entrepreneur. I never seen anyone be a leader. I never seen anyone have a product. There is something that we all have in common. We have books. We have books and we have this social media. Whatever you want to know and how to build your skill, It is here on this internet. You can Google it in, and you can find out exactly the steps to take to build your skill. So no, everyone is not going to go to college. Everyone is going to, some people are going to go to college. Some are going to go spend time in the classroom and do research. But there are some young people who are gifted, are creative, to be a fashion consultant, to be an entrepreneur, to be a builder, to be an actor or a singer or an artist, whatever it is, you can build your skills. You don't see yourself around you, it's okay. This social media, we are connected here with people from all over the world with the same message for you. And I'm excited today to be a part of this International Youth Day. I'm excited that someone is going to walk away and say, hey, I can do it. Yes, I can. And for those of you who have been trying and you've been striving and you're ready to give up, please don't. Please don't. Dr. Louisa put this together today just so you can hear to be encouraged. So once again, be limitless.
Wow, this is so powerful, Dr. Ira, and thank you so much for sharing that. This just kind of reminds me, growing up as a little girl, and of course, being part of a polygamous family.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it was a blessing. I always tell people that being part of a polygamous family is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm crazy, but a polygamous family is really where you can strengthen your belief system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
It's where you can strengthen your self-image. You're going to learn team building.
Yes.
You're going to learn the difference between respect and disrespect.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you wake up every single day unconsciously with biases that you may have inherited
Mm-hmm.
from your parents, from
Mm-hmm.
people around you,
Mm-hmm.
or you just personally brewed them
Mm-hmm.
unconsciously without even knowing whether this was right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of, that's what guided the way that you saw the world. That's what guided the way that you worked with people.
Mm-hmm.
And, growing up, going through all of that, I felt it was a blessing. And when I got on this journey of personal development, I had to take some time, to release myself of
Mm-hmm.
those baggages, relieve myself of those brokenness.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you can move forward.
Yes.
And you can only do that through forgiveness and just being open and just connecting to your creator. What a blessing to be a person of faith. Because that just helps, it serves as a detox.
Yes.
It cleanses you from in out.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away all the mess.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away all the pain. And it builds you for the world in the future.
Yes.
So this is so good. I'm really learning a lot in this, this session, International Youth Day. Guys, if you're just joining us or you haven't even gotten here yet, or you just kind of stumbled on the video, let me tell you, this is where you need to be. There's been some amazing contents here from amazing leaders from all over the world who are sharing how they have done it. Okay. And we are not telling you that we are perfect. We brought people from South Africa. Reverend Rajan was right here from South Africa, from the US, from Nigeria. We're everywhere, okay? We're going to have someone speaking to us from Morocco. And, of course, from Nigeria again. And then, of course, from the Middle East. So this is amazing. It's okay for you to want to beat yourself up and say, Louisa, but the pandemic has swiped off our world away. I don't think so.
Yeah.
The pandemic has got some good things to it. Before now, it wouldn't have been possible to bring all of these people to the room. I probably had to book a flight to go see Reverend Rajan, and then I'm trying to get somebody else on my schedule and try to talk to Dr. Ira and say, Dr. Ira, can you squeeze some time and come to Africa? It's a beautiful place. And then I try to convince somebody else, maybe Barbara Frankson. I said, can you join us? It would be so difficult. But look at what the pandemic has done. He's made the world such a small local village. And I think that everything that we did not enjoy in the world before, I think that everything that we were disturbed about before, we have a chance to be able to knitted again the way that we want it. I think Dr. Rajan or Reverend Rajan is trying to say something. I'm going to bring him on. So you have a chance.
I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So you have a chance to be able to, weave your world again. You have a chance to be able to do it again.
Mhm.
So if you are a young person and you've ever imagined or saw leadership as a dream that might not come true, or
Mhm.
you kind of felt like Cinderella at one point in your
Yeah.
life, and you're just like, Louisa, I heard about this leadership thing. Is it actually real? You know what? The world is giving you a standing ovation today.
Yeah.
The world is saying, guys, we're ready for you to come on. Bring the energy that you
Yeah.
have and put it and channel into the right thing. Come on with your resilience. Come on with your innovation. Come on with your creativity. But come on with the heart to serve.
Yes.
That is very important. You cannot do what you want to do. All of those things might just be a facade if you do not have the heart to serve.
Mhm.
And if you do not have the heart to collaborate, if you do not have the heart to want to learn under someone else's leadership,
Mhm.
someone who has been where you've never been, all of these wonderful leaders have got so much unique messages. We've also brought young people who have done the exact same thing and they've grown and succeeded. We
Yeah.
brought Congresswoman Chika's Comley all the way from Nigeria. And look at the amazing work that she's done. That shows you that this is possible. We had Mary Cosgrove, who told you about how a company fired her and she came back to buy over the company. That's it. That's the world we live in.
Mhm.
And so you have all the help that you need. You have all the resources. And Reverend Rajan has reminded of that if you think that the resources are still not good enough or you still have a question, go back to your maker. Because he's the manufacturer. He created you.
Mhm.
He has the
Mhm.
spare part. Whatever doesn't seem good, whatever doesn't seem like it's working, he is ready. He has it. Okay? Whatever you think is lacking. Someone tells you you're not good enough, go back to your maker.
Right.
He's going to give you the confident version of yourself. So, guys, please let's continue. This conversation is still here, and we're going to have Akin Rapport, Akinola from Nigeria, who is right here. He's a parenting coach who is going to be taking us on the journey. If Akin Rapport, if you're ready, please let us see you on the screen. And we also have Haja here. So whoever's camera comes on right now, I'm going to bring you on the screen. So we're ready. So Dr. Ira, one question for you right now. So what would you say to a young person who is so, look at your younger self. I love how you shared how you were told that you were not good enough.
Mhm.
And all of us have gone through that, to be honest with
Mhm.
you. So what would you say to that young person who feels like, oh, I'm not the right person for the job?
Mhm.
Nobody is going to listen to me. Maybe I'm just this black girl or boy from the very black Africa.
Mhm.
So who am I going to be talking to? Do I just have to influence only people around me? What would you say to that person is the next 2 steps that they should take beginning from tomorrow? Over to you, Dr. Ira.
Thank you, Dr. Louisa, again for inviting me. I would have to say, I would have to go to one of my favorite scriptures. I would have to have a foundation of faith, and that starts with reading and knowing, as the doctor said, your maker. Going back to him, he's going to give me the word that a man's gift will make room for him and bring him before great men. So therefore, number one, I know there's something. I know I have a purpose. I just don't know what it is. But then I need to find a mentor, someone who believes in me. And that's the next 2 steps I'll take. And I guarantee, if you first of all know that you have a purpose, that your maker put you here, you're alive and breathing. That means if he wants you to give, he could take your breath.
That's right. That's right.
The second one is find someone like this platform here that believes in young people, that believes you are the next leaders, that believe you can slay the giant, and you don't have to use what I use. And then I guarantee we'll have a better world with civility.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Ira. Thank you. And we have Genevieve is trying to come on. I think, Haja, can we try on Genevieve for a minute? Because Genevieve has been patiently waiting. Thank you so much, Dr. Ira. It was so
Thank you.
fantastic having you here. Genevieve, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Dr. Louisa.
Perfect. This is amazing. I'm so excited. Woo-hoo-hoo! So Genevieve is back with the fire. Guys, listen, I'm not going to take any time. I'm just going to allow Genevieve to do her thing. Over to you, Genevieve. Go for it.
Thank you, Dr. Louisa. Thank you to the amazing panelists and all audience here looking at us from all over the world. Today is International Youth Day, a day we celebrate our youth. I'm very excited about this year's theme, which says Youth Engagement for Global Action. It is very thoughtful of world leaders to, engage young people in the actualization of the Sustainable Development Goals, which we look forward to it being a reality by the year 2030. So, as this baton is handed over to us, the young people, one question keeps screaming in my mind, and that is, are we ready? Are we prepared to take on the stage? Can we key into this vision and bring it to fulfillment? And so, of all the limiting factors that I see as a challenge to our being unprepared, one of them, which we rarely talk about, is mental health. And
I hope we didn't. Hello. I hope we didn't lose her there.
certain difficulties. And
Yeah, we're
so,
losing you.
let me first define mental health for you as a state of
Yeah, we're losing you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, so I said, let me start by defining mental health
Yeah.
as a state of well-being where an individual realizes his or her potential in life, work efficiently towards it, and is able to engage and contribute positively to his or her community. And so mental health can be positive or it can be negative, and each state affects an individual's productivity. Now let's look at what could cause poor mental state. You will agree with me that there comes a time in life when we either feel anxious or we are afraid, anger, we are either stressed out or we are unsatisfying with our lives. For instance, in the year 2018, it was really a messed up year for me, but I am grateful to God because I am alive. Now let me share with you what happened. I had set out many goals for myself, and it seemed none was achieved. And then it really took me into depression. I was already saying my mates are meeting up, they're doing this, they're doing that. And look at me, I can't even achieve a thing. So I started seeing myself as a failure. But then I know I'm not. Okay, so let's continue. But a prolonged or severe fear, anxiety, stress, anger, and negativity are things that leads us to poor mental health. And so this can turn out to be insomnia, like not having enough sleep, social phobia, not wanting to relate with others because you feel you are odd, and eating disorders, you're just picking on junks because maybe you feel hungry or you just want to have something in your tummy. Some people, especially the men, become addicted to alcohol or smoking, which is a very bad habit. And then some fall into depression, while some women, have a postnatal depression. And all this endangers our physical health as well because it could cause stroke and the person is no longer able to work. So these factors I have mentioned earlier has a lot of things which cause them. They could arise from unemployment. When you are without a job, no money to cater for your needs, it's really worrisome. And then some could be as a result of grief over a loved one. Like myself, I lost my father very early, and it was really a hustle for us to survive. And another could be physical and sexual abuse. We also have gender-based violence, Others could be resentment, shame, guilt, and unhealthy beliefs, which have been repressed into our subconscious. So we carry them about, and then, we think the whole world should pity us because we are going through some certain, difficulties. And these circumstances greatly affect our individual states of mind, and it robs off our true nature, which is creativity, compassion for others, love, vitality, and heroism. I so much believe that the way a child is, or the way someone is as a child, is not really the way the person turns out as an adult, especially when there is an interference with the person's mental development. And so it is more challenging because most people who suffer mental health usually do not speak up. Like, I have a friend who is a cancer patient, and each time I talk to her, I try to make her see that hers is not worst. The world is not coming to an end for her. Cancer is not a terminal illness. Many people have survived it, and so she too can survive it. And many people who suffer mental health suffer stigmatization from the society. People who are supposed to be there for them are mocking them, and so most often they don't speak up. And then there is also lack of basic understanding. Most people do not really understand how you feel until they get into your shoes, and that is not really a good experience, that you get into someone's shoes before you can know how they feel. You have to be compassionate. And another thing is, some people also who suffer mental health do not realize that they need help. Most often they feel, I can do it alone. Whereas getting little help is all they just need to take themselves out of that negativism. Again, many people are afraid, they don't know, if I share my story, if I share my experiences, what will be the outcome? Is this person going to make mockery of me? Am I going to be the gesture of caricature in the society? Having looked at all this, we all have a role to play to curb the effects of negative mental health in society. And so, as a young person who is in a society where you are seeing many things, especially on social media, many people are progressing, they're riding cars, your age mates, they're going for holidays in different countries, and you don't even have a penny to boast of. There are many things that will really make you feel you are not good, or you are not of quality, or God didn't make out time to create you. And for us to curb the effects these have on us, we have to first of all accept ourselves. Acceptance. You have to accept yourself as a complete human and believe that you are capable of achieving greatness. That is number one. Then the second one is you have to declutter your mind. Our mind is stuffed with anger, it's stuffed with shame, it's stuffed with sorrow, it's stuffed with guilt, and the worst of it is stuffed with unhealthy cultural and religious beliefs. And so when we go about with these things, we can't even live out our full potentials. And so we have to declutter our minds, forgive, let go, and think of the way forward and refocus as well. Again, we also have to take a break from where our mental stress is emanating from. If you feel the pressure is coming from social media, go off social media. If you feel it is from your workplace, you can take a leave. And then another one is that you have to cultivate the habit of gratitude. Be thankful to God for the little things you have. Be thankful. And thank God while you are aspiring and praying for the ones you need. Again, you have to be contented with whatever you have, because lack of contentment leads to greed. Then you begin to think, I need to get here fast, whereas there is a procedure that you are supposed to follow to get there. But because of greed, because you want to, be famous, you want to be well known, you begin to take shortcuts, and those are not good for your mental health. And we all as well can help to promote mental health by raising awareness about violence and injuries. Yeah, especially in places where there are killings, where there are rapes, we have to raise our voice, call on the government, call on the security agencies to come to the aid of these people. You can't imagine, people being widows at just the morning of their marriage, children being orphans. It is very depressing. So we have to raise our voices and create awareness about this violence and injuries. Also, education should be made available and accessible so that the illiteracy gap can be closed. The government should also promote human rights and allocate adequate resources to mental health. And you as an individual should also quit comparing yourself with others. I mean, embrace your uniqueness. Tell yourself there is something great about you. There is something unique about me, that when the world sees me, they know that I am unique, I am exceptional, I stand out wherever I find myself. Again, do not judge or stigmatize people with mental disorders. You never can tell what happened. And it's obvious that mental health contributes greatly to the development of a nation because it determines how we relate with others, how civilized we are, how we make our choices, how we handle stress at our workplace, and then how we even take advantage of the opportunity that world leaders are giving to us. And then when you are in the right mental state, your creativity is improved. You can imagine far. You can think the unthinkables and execute them. And then it will also promote a healthy work-life balance. And so I will conclude by saying that young people should embrace every opportunity the government will provide for them. They should carry them out diligently. One of the panelists said, do not serve for eye service, rather serve because it is the right thing to do and you want to promote our society. And then you should imagine more and make a world a better place for you and for myself. And also, you have to know that the world is better or the society is better when we don't only think about ourselves, but when we think about one another. And I also like you to master the art of resilience. Master the art of resilience. Do not lose focus. Ask the right questions when you are stuck. Instead of, throwing a pity party about your past, which is hurting, just focus. Ask the right questions. Protect your mental health. Don't go places where you'll be demoralized. And don't always seek to belong. Just seek to stand out. And I believe that these goals, which the Sustainable Development Goals, which have been stated by the world leaders, will be achieved. Thank you, Dr. Louisa.
Thank you so much, Genevieve. You see, this is why we had to bring your message. This is why we had to bring your message. Okay, we have a feedback again. We have a feedback. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your message. This is so. We have a feedback. This is so wonderful. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on. I think we have someone. I think we have someone. Yeah, we have a backup. Someone. Can we mute our microphones, please? Can the speakers mute their microphones? Mute their microphones. Because we're having a feedback. Okay, I'm not sure what is going on. I'm not sure what is. Hello. Okay. Hello, can you hear me now?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Hello?
I hear you perfectly. Yes, I hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so we're having, I think someone has
perfect.
On.
Yes, so we're having, I think someone has on. Do you have?
Pardon?
Okay. Okay, so I'm so sorry about that, that we were having a feedback. We're having a feedback from you, Genevieve.
We're having a feedback from you, Genevieve.
Oh, really? What could be the cause?
Okay, great. So thank you so much for all that you shared. But I have one question for you, Genevieve, just before you go. How easy was it for you to begin to do the work that you do? How easy? I mean, you talked about a bit about your personal story, because I know that a lot of young people who are watching, and they might have thought, oh, it's worked out for Genevieve. It might not work out for me. In me. How easy was it for you to get on this journey? And did you have to work with you? Did you have to work with a mentor? What did you have to do?
Did you have to work with a mentor? What did you
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Louisa. It wasn't an easy journey, honestly. It wasn't an easy one for me. And actually, I had a mentor at a later stage who I always run to confide in. I share my problems with him. And as God may have it, he gave me the right guidance. He would always say, just believe in yourself, just start, just begin. And one of the challenges I also encountered was, when you're trying to, when you satisfy with the person, some of them may begin to feel that you just want to, and then maybe make a full out of it or do something with it. And you keep to be to show yourself who is responsible, to show that you have a good name to preserve. You are really out there to help the person. And so most of them require financial help, but I don't have financial help. So what I do is helps them to achieve or to get out of their situation. And then for maybe those who are finding difficult to get something doing, I learned many skills like cooking, baking, bead making. I teach them for free, or even fish farming. I just teach them for free to help them, get on with life. So it wasn't just an easy journey. I also backed it up with prayers. Yes, I had to pray and listen to the voice of the Spirit for me to take up this courage and move on.
Wow, this is so good. Guys, I love that every
this is so good. Guys, I love that every
I'm gonna mute you for a minute, Genevieve, because there's a feedback coming from you, so I'm going to mute you for a minute. But every speaker has got such a unique message today, and I really, really did enjoy learning from you, Genevieve, and everyone who has been on the session, and we're continuing to learn. So guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, this is the International Youth Day, and the conversation is on youth engagement for global action. So are you a young person who is interested or aspiring to become a leader, professional, entrepreneur, and it seemed like it was impossible? You need to be part of this conversation right now. Now, do us a favor. If you've already been here, give us some thumbs up and hearts, and please share this video on your page as we continue to bring on other experts who are still here. Amazing message. And I just want you to know that for you to be able to have access to this video, because after today, we're going to have to take this video down because we're going to be using this later on. So if you want to have access to this video, you would have to get on our newsletter for you to be able to get access to this video. You would have to leave your information to be what you're doing. And I also had shared at the beginning of this conversation that this is just the beginning of more that is to come. We have a youth summit that is launching at the end of the month, and also an academy, because I find that it's easy for us to say that we want to get the youth more involved for global issues, for creating value, for social change. But if we do not teach them the how and the why, then they just are not going to be able to do it successfully. So this is going to lead to all of that. So thank you so much, Genevieve, for your time, as I bring on here with me someone who is so special to me, Mr. Akirapo. It's so good to have you here.
Same here, Dr. Louisa. Good evening, Dr. Louisa. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, the panelists, and at the same time, the viewers, wherever they are in the world. I'm speaking from Lagos, Nigeria. So by this, it's 15 minutes to 9 now. So I say good evening to everyone in Africa. To people in the US, good afternoon. Perhaps we have some people from other continents. Good morning to you all. It's a pleasure for me to be here this evening. One more time again, I was with Dr. Louisa was it last year or 2018?
Last year, absolutely.
Okay, last year. It was an awesome experience, awesome engagement, experiential learning. After all, here we are again celebrating the ever energetic and enthusiastic youth. So I say I give thumb up to you, madam, for taking this challenge again. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And guys, if you haven't never met Mr. Kinropo, he's not just a parenting coach, but he's one that focuses on the boy child and on the man. And he has tons of resources. He has an academy that works with the boy child, the men. If you think your man is not being man enough, he needs to talk to Mr. Kinropo. And if you think your boy is not doing what they should do, you have the right person in the house. So I'm going to allow, Mr. Kinropo to just take on his topic. The conversation, of course, has been on youth involvement, youth engagement for global actions. But then, of course, we have to build these young people for them to be able to carry on the baton and keep going. They are ready to go. So, Mr. Kinropo, can you give us your message? Over to you.
Okay, once again, my message is clear. My name is Akinropo Akinola from Lagos, Nigeria. I help parents and every other adults around the child to increase the quality of parenting, at the same time, the methodology of nurturing African children as well as families into greatness while still maximizing their potential. So, what do we have today? I basically deal with parents, but there is no way you want to deal with parents. You want to create an enabling environment for parents, for them to excel very well in the assignment of parenting that they're doing. You can't still ignore the children. You can't ignore teenagers. You can't ignore the youth because basically what we do really, when we look at the population of Nigeria, population of Africa, even by and large the world extensively, we will always see that the ages from ages 12 to like 35, or even let's stop at ages 12 to 28, those ones that are about 40% of every population in the world. What that says is that is the bulk of the population that deals that is the bulk of people. They create where lies creativity, where lies potentials, and where lies where lies productivity. That's exactly so. That is why if we are really focusing on parents, we can't still neglect the aspect of teenagers, the aspect of youth. So that is why I celebrate Dr. Louisa Kaiso, for taking this challenge up, addressing the pressing need of teenagers by and large, or rather, let me just say the pressing needs of youth in Africa, in Nigeria, and at the same time throughout the world. So that's just the background. So basically what I have, the message I have is actually split into three: the background, then the challenges, and at the same time, the solution for us to solve the myriads of challenges that are facing African youth as a whole. So I represent my constituency in Africa now, because when I speak, we speak, from the data that we have gathered so far. We speak from the researches, multiple researches that we have gathered so far. And so that's why most of what I'm going to be speaking here today, they are, the results of the researches that we have done in time past, and we keep updating almost every year. I personally, join some abled men, associations to visit, various motherless homes, various prisons, and I get reports. Even when I don't go, I get reports, from what they feel so far. We discovered that majorly when you visit any prison today in any part of Nigeria, you will see that 70% of the inmates are basically youth. And out of those 70% that are basically youth, you see about 80% of them that are actually, either teenagers, awaiting trials until they are like, after age 18, or youth from 19, 20, 25, 23, up to 25, up to 26, 27. So that when I see figures like that, it's actually, it breaks my heart, and at the same time, I just break down and I begin to cry. Why are we in this mess? What that says is the bulk of the productivity that we have in Nigeria, that we have in Africa, are actually languishing, in where they're languishing in prison. So if parents, if the coaches, if the leaders, administrators, entrepreneurs, if they are not doing well now, who are they and who are we going to hand over the baton to? So that is why it is most critical. In so much, we want to talk about the way forward for the youth. In so much, we want to talk about the way forward for teenagers. In so much, we want to provide solution to the challenges that are facing them. We can't at the same time, first of all, address those challenges. And that is why I am starting the challenges that are facing the youth that we have in Africa today. I'm starting it from the educational perspective. That is what I tell people, that we can't possibly want to handle, the Gen Z, the kids, the teenagers, the youth that we have now. We can't possibly want to handle them with the mindset of industrial revolution, the way we were handled. So when you go to some schools across Africa now, you could always understand that most of the curriculum, most of the teaching techniques that our youths are being empowered, the teenagers, even the kids, because the kids of today will grow up to become teenagers tomorrow and at the same time become youth. We are talking about these people are not so productive as expected. But mind you, there is a research that I stumbled on that says that research is still very, very much fresh in my memory now. What does this research say? Research says the youth and teenagers that we have now, they are more problem-solving oriented than any generations before them. They are more problem-solving oriented than any generation before them. But when we don't really equip them effectively, how are we going to get, the maximal, report, the maximal productivity from them when we are not really preparing them for what they should do? So one of those challenges, because when we look at all these things, I'm going to be taking it from the research, the paper that I have there. One of those problems that they are facing in the school is most of them, they are right-brained, children, but we give them left-brain curriculum. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because what they really need, they need a kind of, projection, image-based projection. That is what a right-brain thinker needs. Unfortunately, what we give them here in Africa is not always the same, because when you look at this, how many schools that we have in Africa here can really boast that they are giving the children, they're giving the teenagers, they're giving the youth, boast that the youth that they have produced, the graduates that have produced, how many of schools that we have in Africa here can readily say they gave them homegrown curriculum? When we're talking about curriculum, we're not talking about, mathematics, English language, agricultural science, social studies, we're not talking about all those ones. They are actually basic, from here in Africa to any part of the world. But we're talking about when are we going to have our homegrown curriculum? Those things that can actually match, the peculiarity of the students, the peculiarity of the teenagers, the peculiarity of the youth that we're producing here in Africa, in Nigeria, for them to be effectively, for them to have their potential effectively maximized. Then the second problem again is the children, the teenagers that we want to produce, that we have for them to graduate into youth now. How are we preparing them in the way they learn. The number 2 one that I have here is these ones learn by uploading. That is how they are being configured. They learn by uploading. But what do schools give them? What do some schools give them? Some schools give them by downloading. You know, when they give these guys assignment, they just tell them to go to any place that they can. Am I still on?
Absolutely, you're here.
Wow. I'm not sure whether I'm still. Am I still on?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, you know, the peculiarity, you know, of the children, the teenagers that we have today, the youth that we have today, they actually learn by uploading. They learn through creativity. They learn when they are being given assignment to think on their own, not when teachers really tell them, or teachers really tell them just to go somewhere to go and download it and get. You know, when they do all those things, it is called garbage in, garbage out. It is what the teachers are giving them that they produce that. Those things don't allow the critical thinking around them. Then the third challenge is the desire to learn what is relating to their capacity. But what do we give them? We give them what is next them, what is available for the teachers. That is what we give them. Those things will not bring real creativity in them. Those things will not bring the real capacity, the capacity. It will not really maximize the capacities they have in them. Then the fourth one is the youth that we have today. They are driven by creativity, but how do we test them in the school? Most of the schools that we have in Africa don't really test the knowledge, don't really test the creativity of our children based on their own innate capacity, based on their own innate ability, but they're being tested based on the curriculum, based on the foreign curriculum. They are not being tested based on what? On homegrown curriculum. You know, when you look at all those things, you will always understand that one of those reasons why Africa is really lagging behind in almost everything that we do, in almost everything that they do, you know, it cuts across the spheres of influence. When you talk about the 7 spheres of influence, you're talking about the education, you talk about the parenting of family, you talk about business and economy, you talk about business, business economy, you talk about finance, you talk about legal system, you talk about governance. You know, that is why Africa is lagging behind, because we have not really thought deep on how to raise our own kids. We don't even have the master plan. We don't have the kind of homegrown policy about our educational system. What do we really want? How do we really want to achieve the best in life? Take, for instance, we're talking about Malaysia today. Malaysia, you know, I grew up to read that story, that Malaysia used to come to Africa to borrow, you know, palm kernel seed. You know, they took it from here to go and plant over there. We're talking about China. How did China arrive where they are today? They arrived where they are today because of some painstaking decision they took quite a number of years, you know, like 50, 100 years ago. They decided homegrown educational system for them because they knew where they were going to be 100 years to come. And that is why they are reaping greatly from what the decisions that they took sometimes ago. Here in Africa, we can do the same thing as well, that any way that we want to empower our youth at all, any way we want to empower our teenagers at all, any way we want to empower our kids at all, it has to be, you know, homegrown oriented. There's nothing wrong with other subjects, but when are we going to think about our own homegrown curriculum system that is really basically needed for Africa to, you know, to grow to enviable a future, the same way they have it in Asia, the same way they have it in Middle East. Those are the things we need to do. Those are the challenges. Then the last one I want to give now, and that is the solution. What can we do to help African youth? What can we do to make them excel in life? What can we do to make them global champions? What can we do to make them global problem-solving entity, problem-solving individual? I have about 4 solutions to give. Number one of them is we need to help them to increase their emotional intelligence and social capacity. We need to help African youth to develop, to increase their knowledge of emotional intelligence and social capacity. When we look at most of them, they are brilliant. Most of them, come out in flying colors, first class. The way we have first class graduates these days, is far more higher than what we used to have back in the days, such that at times we begin to think if, the kind of courses they are giving them in universities now, maybe those courses are so simpler to what it used to be in the past, but it is not so. Not that it's so simpler, it is how the youths of today have been configured. They are so brilliant, but when you talk about the emotional intelligence and social capacity, they are lacking in it. So the second one is for them to identify their personal value and enhance self-esteem. Every youth in Africa must be able, parents must help them, coaches must help them, every leader in all spheres of influence must help them to identify their personal strength, their personal value, and enhance self-esteem. The third one is for them to have clarity of influence. Who have they chosen to be their greatest or greater or great influencer in life? We have many influencers on social media. We have many influencers, any sphere of influence. But, by the time these guys have really identified their personal value system and at the same time enhanced self-esteem, by the time they have all those things, then the clarity of influence will not be a bigger problem for them. That is what I tell my children. Anytime my children, at the same time, every other youth and every other parent that come across me in our, that thing has been infused in our curriculum, in our school of parenting. Do you understand? So when they have all those things, the clarity of influence, they will know who to follow on social media. They won't just be jack of all trades. They won't just be like, anyone that flashes, a big money on social media, a material wealth, material acquisition. They will always know that that is not the strength or the test of popularity. Really, they could be popular, but what about the value system? Do their value system, or does the value system of those influencers really match your own value system? That one that you have identified in your life, they need to figure that one out. Then the last one that they need to do, they need to make better decisions in their life. If I have to take myself for example, a lot of things, a lot of battles, a lot of crises that I had when I was growing up, when I was a youth, they were caused as a result of bad decisions I made in my life while I was growing up. When I left school, at 20s, when I began my life at 30s, a lot of bad decisions that I made in life, and I suffered hugely as a result of those bad decisions, because I had good intentions of how to be wealthy, how to be great in life, how to get everything right. But I lacked clear-cut strategies to achieve this. Youth of today, I want to beg them, by the mercies of God, I want to appeal to them, the whole world, the whole population is depending on them, and it has been adjudged, they've been adjudged. Data suggests, data supports it. Available data that we have supports it, that they are the most problem-solving oriented generation, far better, more than those ones behind them. So they must not let their generation down. And that is why we need to help them. We need to come to their aid in everything that we do, in coaching system, in our leadership system that we do. We must be able to let them know that they have to make better decisions in life. That is number 4. Lastly, this is a change. I mean, this is an environment where we have the culture of comparison. I mean, my sister Onwuka spoke something about that, and that one actually struck a chord with me. You know, this environment that we have now, there is a culture of comparison, there is a culture of competition. I want to beg you, don't compare yourself with anybody. Only compare yourself with yourself and with your past achievement. Everyone in life, they've gotten their own pattern, they've gotten their own ways, they've gotten their own system, they've gotten their own destiny. The destiny of A is different from destiny of B. Somebody may be, age 22 and he or she is doing wonderfully well. I want to beg the youth, if you haven't achieved what that person of age 22 has achieved so far, don't get unnecessarily jealous about those achievements. Perhaps the person's time has come. Your own time is come. Don't get unnecessarily carried away by what they see on social media. Being on social media has gotten its own price. I don't want to go into that. The price, in our curriculum has been broken down into behavioral steps. Perhaps because of time, I don't want to go into that. There are prices to pay when you allow social media to dictate your life pattern for you, when you allow social media to dictate your system in life for you, when you allow social media to dictate your value system for you, there are prices to pay. And I don't want any one of you to want to know the consequences of those prices. It may be so much huge for you to bear. So please, I want to stop here. I've given about 5 solutions. Now, the last one is so critical. Just like every other 4 that I've said earlier on, they must not allow social media, they must not allow the culture of competition and comparison to run down their destiny. They've gotten amazing destiny for everybody in Africa to benefit from. Thank you, Dr. Louisa. Let me stop for now.
This is so good. This is so good. Thank you so much, especially as someone who works every day with the youth. I knew that you were going to come in from a different angle. So I'm really honored that you shared your awesomeness with us. And of course, continue to do the work that you do, even with not just with the youth and also with the parents, which is a really critical part of the youth stepping into, a new kind of responsibility. The parents have got to be supportive. The parents must be there. Well, sometimes someone might be asking, oh, what if I don't have a father or mother? Well, there's other kind of parents. Your parents sometimes are not really your direct mother and father. And that's why we encourage you to work with mentors. We encourage you to work with leaders who you've seen who have actually gone the way which you're interested in going. Whether you must be open to work with other people. And so, Mr. Kunrapo, my final question for you, just one question for you would be,
yes, please.
What do you think, looking at the youth today and what is going on, the conversation today, which is so amazing, what do you think would be a challenge, a major challenge that could hold any young person back? What could be a major challenge? For me, I always think that the major thing is mindset, because, everyone in the world can tell you you're great. If you don't think that you're great, you're never going to be able to step into greatness. So what do you think is a major challenge that the youth might face and hold them back? Over to you.
Okay, what I think, and I know, because research I did some times ago during the beginning of this pandemic, I gathered some, information, and I, spread it out to, then some results just came in. And I want to explain it here today. Now, one of the major things that is going to shape their opinion, one of the challenges they are going to be facing, and it will live and it will last in their life for a better part of their life. If adults now, if you are not doing anything, it's because it's something that has happened in this pandemic, COVID. I'm going to explain. I did a comparison. When you look at September 11 or September 11, 2001, the attack on America, please permit me to bring this conversation in. When you look at the situation at that particular time, mostly some youth in the world then, they were really affected by that singular action. the action of violence that that followed that attack, the protest, a lot of things that affected their life. The same thing when you look at what is happening now, most of the schools, are not yet open. 80% of the school over the world are not yet open. What that tells the children that we have, what that tells the youth, even some youth that are supposed to enter into a workforce, productivity, they're supposed to enter into productivity. They can't still go in now because COVID-19 has disrupted them. So there is no way the post-COVID-19, the post-pandemic will not have the mental effect in the life of the youth that we have now. Some of them are taken to vices. Some of them are taken to all manners of, because they believe that if COVID-19 could actually bring everybody to its knees for almost 5 months and still counting, what is the hope that we have in this world? I better take, my destiny into my hands. So in a bid to want to do that, there is likelihood that they will enter into some vices that are not really going to, favor them, favor the society, favor their parents, and favor the old world entirely. So in that regard, that is going to affect their mental consciousness. It's going to affect their mental health. But in that regard, there are 3 things I believe parents can do to address that. There are 3 H. The first one is, regardless of the COVID-19, regardless of the challenges, because it has happened before in 1918, the world overcame it. So this one, the world is going to overcome as well. So what we can give them is to give them the word of hope. The word of hope. There is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We have to rise to the occasion that regardless of what is happening now, every system is shut down, educational system is shut down, banking and finance is shut down, governance is shut down, almost everything shut down. They are likely to lose hope, but we must raise their hope. Then the second one is to help them find their purpose in the midst of pandemic. In the midst of pandemic, this mostly at times could be avenue for them to be productive, avenue for them to bring up solutions to the challenges, avenue to do stuff in life. So we must help them to find the purpose in this life and to nurture it in spite of the COVID challenges. Then the last H, that is health management. How we're going to help them stabilize. A lot of them that I said, they will go into vices. A lot of them will go into depression. And one of those reasons that we'll always know when someone goes into depression, they go into vices, they go into, alcohol, they go into sexcapade, they go into almost everything because they believe that they've been home. They don't have the opportunity to mingle, to see their friends in a way. So they're likely going to take into all those vices. Then what parents and what we can do in that area is to give them a safety and health issues, health awareness, just for them to stay in line in spite of the challenges. So that is what I say. COVID-19 COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 are already posing a threat in the life of the youth. That is one of the major challenges because it has happened before in 2001, September 11. That singular action changed the course of youth before the thing was brought under control. The same thing we are experiencing now, that youth tend to take their life, their destiny into their hands. In trying to do that, a lot of things may happen to them. We have to rise to the occasion by giving them message of hope, by giving them message of help, and at the same time, mental health. It has to be in place.
Thank you so much. That's so powerful. Hope, help, and health. That is so powerful. Thank you so much, Mr. Kinropo. It was so great, of course, to see you again. Your message is always good. I enjoyed my time with you, and of course, we're looking forward to a lot more. So, if you're still here, thank you for everyone who is still hanging with us. And we have our speaker here, who is coming on. Haja. Haja is my favorite person. And Haja,
Hello.
are you in Morocco right now, or where are you? Are you in the Middle East?
I'm in Morocco right now. It's in North Africa somehow, and it's already nice.
Yes, Morocco. Yes, beautiful, beautiful place. Guys, if you haven't been to Africa, I think that that's one of the places you want to put on your list is Morocco to visit.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful place,
beautiful.
beautiful culture, beautiful people. Yeah, let me share a bit about Haja for you. Haja is a delegate with the YMGCP as well as the panel speaker, where she had to talk about, she discusses on issues of discrimination in her country. She is also a young leader with Unite 2030 and a camper representing her country in September 2021 for the Camp 2030. She's also a region ambassador with MCISE, so a global change maker, and currently volunteering with the Global Change Makers, and also a delegate in the Citizens International Youth Summit for this year, 2020. Hajar is also a content creator with Lift NGO, and she is a UN volunteer. She's also working with youth as well as with youth organizations and several other organizations. One thing that I love about what she does is she's a debater and a participant with the YVM, Young Voice Med program. And she also participates in the Enactors exchange program between the US and Morocco. Now, majority of what Haja does is on peace building. And of course, we will have to bring Haja again back to our program on a later date of as a special guest when we're not talking about the youth, because there's so many wonderful things about Haja.
Yeah.
Haja is such a
Thank
great
you.
youth leader, good example for so many people to follow. So Hajar, I'm just going to give you your time to be able to talk to us as a young person and your experiences, and what do you have to say today with the International Youth Day, with such a great youth engagement, global action. Over to you, Hajar.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I kept watching all the speakers and panel discussions somehow, and the panel discussions, and I did like every every discussion. Like it was for me like a mentorship. I did learn a lot of things, and this is the advice. The first advice I'm gonna give to young leaders that or people that are aspiring or wants to be leaders, that it's never too late, and whenever you find that opportunity to learn from people that was leaders are still leaders, like this inspirational people, and you of course, Dr. Louisa, just take the opportunity. Don't I always say it, don't wait for the opportunity. Like no one is gonna come and give you the opportunity and be like, yeah, here you are, like be a good leader, I'm giving you the opportunity and just be a good leader. No, look for the opportunity, and if you don't find any opportunity, create it. Like don't wait for the change. This is what I'm going to say to these young leaders having this idea of being leaders, and they're like stopping it in their mind. Go for the action. No one is gonna like judge you but yourself. Like when you will see that people are being young leaders, people are making a change, and you are like sitting there watching, like if it's a movie, you will be like so hurt, because you will say to yourself, you could have done it if you just went out of your comfort zone and you go for it, whatever it takes. Like you may get rejections, and what is rejections at the end? Like it will push you more and more to follow your dream. And what I'm going to say also to young people who are young right now, and maybe we're going to watch this later, that don't get influenced, don't get influenced in a bad way. I know that many are young people right now who are watching like stories of many popular people or influencers that are like talking about success, talking about money as like a way to be successful, and the many things I watch every day, and this like hurts me so much because instead of influencing people into like making a change and looking for the solution instead of waiting for the solution, we are like influencing many young people or like even teenagers into having that idea of that money is success or money is the way to get to the top, or like I don't know, any other field, like create an Instagram account, be an influencer and influence people into like getting money or stuff. This is not how things works. As young leaders, we know that we have like a whole challenge, and while watching all these people talking, you will know that you have like a big challenge and that you are the future. Why like thinking about money as a solution to your, or as a tool to your success? Why can't you like work on yourself, try to make a change? Like if you think that a change is a big word, try to make an impact in within your community, maybe with your parents, first with your parents, after you can work on your city, after you can work on the whole country. Like start by little steps, and after you can make like the big impact you want. And really never say never. Like when personally I'm talking, since I'm talking about peace and I'm really like working on peace building and peacemaking, and I really love that. I really love that field in particular. And when I talk about my parents about this, they're like, no, you have like an engineering field. You have like, because I'm doing like data and knowledge engineering, and they're like, you will lose your field of study if you follow like peace, if you follow like entrepreneurship, if you follow like social activism, and if you follow that idea of making an impact. And I'm right now trying to convince them that by using my field, I can do the impact I want on people, and I can manage to be like a young leader, a change maker, but at the same time follow my engineering studies. And this is how parents should also be. Like when your children or your kid is like so inspired by like making a change, you should push it to make that change. Don't like be like the first one who will reject him. Like he will feel hurt if he's not as strong as he will become after for sure. But you need like to push him into making that change. If you see in him that will to make the change, don't stop him. Don't be like, no, you need like to be a doctor, or you need to be I don't know, any other field or any other field of study. Just push him into making that change, because maybe you are having a young leader in your home, or a change maker, or someone who is going to be I don't know, a delegate in like an MUN, or he's going to debate, or he's going to be in the UN talking about a serious topic in his country. Just encourage your kids into making that change. Because for me, if I wasn't so strong, and if I didn't like face my parents into like telling them, this is, I just found like the thing I love, I just found like the thing that makes me happy, and I'm not going to stop it there. Seeing people, I always like thought that helping people is what makes me happy, making a change is what makes me happy, or it's my motivation to work more and more, because I always have had this idea, even if it's a crazy idea, that when I will die, people, what will they say about me? I should leave my impact. I should leave, like, they will say that she did, and I will be proud of me more and more, because I did impact people into making that change too, into like being like a good leaders in their country, and into like not always relying on the government or like people as other people to give you the opportunity. I really like find those people who sit there blaming the country as not the only responsible of not giving them enough opportunities, and sitting there like waiting for the change to come, waiting for a new like government, for new laws so as they can change things. I just don't like them, to be honest, because I'm like, if you find that there is inequalities in your country and that your country is not giving the solutions to that issue or that problem, just start by making that change by yourself. Create an organization, work with like a bunch of young leaders and fight for that issue or fight for that cause. Don't sit there and like be waiting for the change. And I mean, I will add one last thing because I was hearing like a topic discussion about mental health, and I can relate because in some moments of my life I was so lost, and I was like having a depression and all an anxiety and all these problems related to my mental health. And since like we are living in a country where mental health is not taken into consideration, even when you talk with your parents and you're like, I'm feeling like depressed, I maybe should go to someone who is professional so as I can get like the cure or so as he can listen to me. They will be thinking, the answer I got is that you are not crazy, you are totally normal. No, mental health is like a serious problem. And if people don't try to find like a solution to that problem, even if their parents are not agreeing or their society is not taking like that issue or that problem seriously, you can find your source of joy. For example, like how did I fight depression? I invested my time and invested myself in many events, aiming to like having to connect with other people from other countries. Like I did participate this week in many webinars, in many, like I was a delegate again. I do work with many people and I do make a lot of connections, and that exchange of information, culture, and just to see that someone else is living worse than you and you are living like maybe a better life is like moving me from the inside to like make an impact again and make the change I want. This is what's always pushing me like to be what I am today, and every day I'm finding opportunities and I'm looking for opportunities so as I can achieve what I want. And I have that objective of like just I want people to remember that I was like a change maker and that I didn't sit there waiting for the change to happen all of a sudden. And I was the future of my country somehow. And it didn't, like all the problems I had, all the problems related to my mental health, all the problems related to my like family not agreeing on what I'm doing, or any other problem didn't stop me from getting my dream or from following my dream. And at the same time, I'm studying, and I would like really encourage people like to follow their dreams, whatever it takes. Just don't wait for the opportunity. That we never know. I always follow that quote that you only live once. You never know when I don't want to regret. Like if like it happens and I'm dying tomorrow, after tomorrow, I will be regretting the fact that I didn't take this opportunity or I didn't like enjoy doing what I want. I mean, I'm always having this idea. And I'm going to say one last thing. It's now or never. It's not too late to make a change. It's not too late to be like a young leader or a leader. It's not too late to like stand up for yourself and just go and make that change and leave that impact and make it like your whole motivation. Even if you get rejected, even if you don't get enough opportunities, fight for it because you are worth it and you are born for a reason. So make that your reason, and let's make the whole world a better place full of positive things. And we are the future. Young leaders are the future. So make it as your only one objective.
Wow, this is so amazing, Hajar. I must say, you had mentioned in your speech on how you've been so inspired. I think I'm even more inspired by you.
I'm more inspired by you. Like you are my first one inspiration for sure.
Look at your way of thinking and look at the work that you've done. I wish that I had achieved as much as you have right now. but like you said, it's not too late, and this is why we had to bring you on the show, because I have seen the work that you do. Haja is on social media. She's on LinkedIn. She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. And if you are connected with her, you will see the amazing work that she does on a daily basis. She is a leader that leads by example. So everything she's saying, I see this play out on a daily basis. I've seen how much she gets involved with her community, how much she gets involved with enriching herself, whether it's personal development, whether it's being part of providing solutions to problems in her community or problems around the young people. She's constantly working on a daily basis. So Haja, it's an honor to have you here. It's such an honor to have you share your awesomeness, and thank you so much. So guys, we are really, getting to the end of the session. And if you got here at the middle, that's fine. But we have stated that the focus of this session, apart from just celebrating the International Youth Day, was, to create a platform that would empower the young people who are aspiring to become leaders, give them information and nuggets that would help them create value to activate social change wherever that they find themselves. And I want to believe that the contents that we've shared here today are more than enough to help every young person to get things started, to build their personal self, to be able to strengthen their relationship with the people around them, with their communities. You should be open to collaborations with other people, other young leaders, other great leaders, people who you've seen who are doing things that you've never done before. The focus here really is achieving the SDG goals. And so, 3 hours is not enough time for us to do this with the young people because they're embarking on a new journey. And this was just an introduction to where we're headed. So you need to jump on the choo-choo train because we're getting started, okay? And so the next
I'm excited.
Yes, the court that we're heading to really is the summit at the end of the month. And let me bring on Reverend Rajim, who is here. This is a man that I respect and I love so much, from Durban, South Africa. So we are having the summit at the end of the month. We're having the Youth Global Summit at the end of the month. And, we will continue this conversation, but then it will just lead us on to the 8 weeks immersive learning experience, intensive learning for the young people. And I believe that, the focus here will be to empower any young person who is interested in becoming a not-for-profit professional, an entrepreneur, social innovator, change maker. The contents, the experience that you will have in learning with us over a period of time will help you solve pressing problems in whatever continent that you find yourself. And it's going to help you to go to scale lasting impacts through innovation, creativity. So I want to call on all the young people. We're going to be sharing some information as, after today. I have also shared, a link which is taking you to our Telegram channel, because that's where we're going to be working from. So please click the link in the comment box and get in and join the Telegram channel. So when you get in there, relax, and of course invite others to be part of it. The trainings that we're going to be doing and the summit, they will not be live on Facebook because we want to make them very interactive where the young people can ask questions. The new world is here. The young people are the leaders of today, not for tomorrow. It is here now. It is here now. We've been waiting for the future. The future has now been handed over to us. And what does the new world need? The new world requires innovators. The new world requires thought leaders, visionaries, people who are looking up to work on big ideas, people who are ready to leverage collaboration to birth their own future, what they want to see. You have to be the change that you want to see in the world. No one is going to be that change. Whatever that you want to see, it's time for you to roll up your sleeves. It's time for you to jump in. As a young person, The world has now said, yes, the stage is open. It's time for you to play full in. There is no room to play small. You've heard from different leaders from different parts of the world. I always make a joke that, you know what? Jesus did not die for you to play small, okay? He's a God of abundance. Hello? How can you play small? That means that you're really trying to bring down his power and who he is. So please, come on board and work with us. You're going to find leaders, and that's why we brought different people, because there's someone who has been on here that looks like you. So this is not an idea of I'm white, I'm pink, I'm blue. I brought everyone. We're all here. We're looking at a new world that has no skin color in it. We're looking at a new world that has no borders. We're looking at a borderless world. Look at what the pandemic has done. It has shown me that I had a sister that's sitting down in Morocco whose name is Haja. Look at that. The pandemic has shown me that I have a brother in Durban, South Africa, Reverend Rajan. Look at that. The pandemic has brought more sisters and brothers. You see, the world is such a small local village. Are you still in your own corner? You don't want to do that to yourself. What do you want people to say about you when you are no more? That's the question that we got from Haja. And it got me thinking. I know that your story hasn't been perfect, but you have a time, you have an opportunity to rewrite your story. Join me for the storytelling, writing your story workshop and the summit. I'm ready to rewrite my story. What is that thing that you were told when you were younger? Did somebody say to you that you are not good enough? Who cares? You're ready to rewrite your story. You have so many brothers and sisters. You have so many parents from all over the world. Why would you be worried about one person who thinks you're not good enough? Excuse me. We are moving. But I'm only going to be moving with thought leaders. I'm only going to be moving with change makers. So are you ready to be the change that you want to see in the world? Are you ready to be that thought leader? Are you ready to be more and do more? Are you ready to use your platform, your voice to change lives, to add value, to impact your generation? You don't just want to come into the world like a visitor. You want to play full in. It's time for you to play full in. There's so much opportunities for you. The leaders are saying to you, we're ready to collaborate. Are you looking for mentors? Have you had this initiative or dream inside of you that you felt like it was going to die inside of you? You don't want to take it to the grave. It's time for you to bring it alive. So we're inviting you. I'm inviting you on this journey. I'm so excited. I'm so inspired to see the work that people are doing. I mean, we listened today to Hajar. We listened to Congresswoman Chikas, and you see the work she's doing as a politician. We also listened to Genevieve Owuka. Look at the amazing work that she's doing. So you can do it. You can do it. And together, we can work together to become stronger and make the world a better place. So thank you so much, all of you who have been here with us. Dr. Rajan, would you want to leave your parting words before we just close this up? Dr. Rajan?
Yeah, what I want to say is where this all started for me is in the beginning of 2019. Wow. The Lord spoke to me through promptings, and he said to me, and when I applied my mind to the year 2019, it's the only year in 100 years that will end in TEEN. So God told me that this year will usher in a species of generation that he will use to change the face of the world.
Wow, that's powerful.
So I want to say to the young people, the session of life has already started. Are you present? The session of life has already started in 2019. Are you present?
Wow, this is awesome. I love it. Thank you so much.
all you young people, you need 3 people in your life. You need a Paul who's a father, who can speak to your life, who can guide you, guard you, lead you. Then you need a Barnabas, someone to encourage you, someone to uplift your spirits, to help you succeed. And then you need a Timothy, somebody you can pour your life into.
Wow.
You need a protege. All what we are doing online today, God will do through you. God will do through you so that you can build somebody else's life. Louisa, a whole generation was lost when the children of Israel left Egypt. And through the journey to Canaan land, God had to wipe a whole generation out because of rebellion and disobedience. I believe we are living in a season of grace. God is giving us a season of repentance. And whatever the young people are hearing today, you are responsible for the truth you've been exposed to. Take it serious. Wipe the grin off your faces and let life count for you. God is counting on you. Enjoy life to the fullest. He has come to give us life and have it more abundantly.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Reverend Rajan. I felt that right in my bones. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our viewers. We had different sessions, different screens, and at least I know that we had over 1,000 people watching today. And so I don't take this for granted. I am so honored that you hung on and believed in me. I'm so honored that you believed in the message. I'm so honored that you believed in the platform. And all of you came to share your awesomeness. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you, over 1,000 people today, for just coming on and being part of this. So the next step is click on the link that you see in the comment box and join us on the Telegram channel, because we are taking off and you don't want to be left behind. And thank you, Haja. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank every contributor and panelist. Mary, I want to say thank you. Congresswoman Chicas, I want to say thank you. Mr. Kunrapor, I want to say thank you. Yudi, I want to say thank you. Dr. Ira, it was so wonderful to have you. Barbara, it was great to have you here. Muna, it was great to have you. Thank you, all of you, for all that you shared, for your heart to serve. I really do appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. In another 2 weeks, we're on a journey. We're getting things heated up. So thank you. Have yourself an amazing rest of the day. Bye for now.